FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting. You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
5 o'clock.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Andrew Cannon. Coming up in the news for this Saturday, March 22, 2025, PATH students will ride for free when the government's rural bus service is implemented come September, says Transport Minister Darl Vaz. NWC dismisses claims that water provided by the company is unsafe for consumption. According to a statement from deceased witness, Mario Dean was not released on bail because he said he did not like the police. On the international scene, Israel strikes Lebanon after first rocket attack since ceasefire. In sport, Jamaica's senior men's football team had to come from behind to earn a 1-1 draw with St. Vincent and the Grenadines in CONCACAF Gold Cup action. The details after this.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Transport Minister Darl Vaz says PATH students will ride for free when the government rural school bus service is implemented come September. Speaking with Nationwide at 5 on Friday, Minister Vaz says the buses will be deployed in the major towns in each parish except Kingston and St. Andrew.
7 buses per parish, excluding Kingston and St. Andrew, which obviously has the concessions in place through JUTC. But obviously some bigger parishes will get more smaller parishes, but an average of 7 buses per parish. We are going to put them on the major corridors. We're going to work with the schools, which I did in Portland already, through the Ministry of Education to decide the corridors that these buses will ply on the major corridors to the schools. That's the start. They will be able to take the bus, PATH students, free of cost, and we're extending the same thing that we are doing with the JUTC, where kids will pay between $20 and $50 depending on the length of the route.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness announced the plan during his contribution to the budget debate on Thursday. The Prime Minister said 60 retrofitted buses will be piloted come September, with another 40 to be implemented by next January. Minister Vaz says the reduced fare on the rural school bus service should result in significant savings for parents.
Right now, rural students are paying between $300 and $500 a day. Now, don't get me wrong, because they still have to get to the school bus. So there still is a cost to that. But to pay $20 or $50 is going to be a significant savings to the parents, which is going to total anywhere between $1,500 and $2,500 per week per student.
Darl Vaz, Transport Minister. Meanwhile, Minister Vaz says the JUTC will play a key role in the successful implementation and continuation of the new rural bus service.
Those buses will be operated by the schools. They get subvention, and money from the subsidy will be used to continue to maintain them. So they will hire the drivers. We will train the drivers through JUTC and HART, and JUTC will also set up to help to maintain and service the buses so that we don't have the downtime. The buses will be used in the morning and parked and used in the evening. So it's not something that's going to be up and down all day, specifically to get the children to school and get them back home in the afternoon.
Mr. Vaz adds that the schools will have the option of recruiting the drivers for the buses.
But you're leaving the responsibility of hiring the drivers to the schools.
Yes. The arrangement that we have as of right now would be to get the post of drivers for the schools, for the buses. But obviously that's a work in progress as we speak, because if they need JUTC to recruit and train, it's just a matter of the logistics in terms of how they are paid and how the buses are serviced. But we have a template. There are other private school buses that schools are using now, so we're also working with them to see exactly how they do it.
Darl Vaz, Transport Minister. He was responding to Ricardo Brooks on Nationwide at 5 on Friday. The National Water Commission, NWC, is dismissing claims that water provided by the company is unsafe for consumption. The NWC was responding to comments made by Junior PNP spokesperson on health and wellness, Jesse James Clark. According to Mr. Clark, any water being consumed by citizens should be boiled before drinking.
The Public Health and Sanitation Committee at the KSAMC had some concerns about the water quality that the residents of Kingston and St. Andrew were receiving. And based on that, we decided to do a tour of some of the treatment plants, some of the facilities, both in the corporate area and also in rural areas of St. Andrew. And what we found, we believe that we can make some recommendations as to how the Water Commission, along with the minister that is responsible for water, can improve the quality of water that we receive by the residents in Kingston and St. Andrew. But before I even give you the recommendations, I just want to advise all persons in Kingston and St. Andrew to ensure that you boil your water that you're receiving in your pipe, because the NWC is currently experiencing poor water quality in a lot of the areas that are currently being served, especially in the rural areas.
Jesse James Clark, a junior PNP spokesperson on health and wellness. But according to the NWC, water provided by the Commission is continually monitored and thoroughly tested. The NWC says the water is in full compliance with the guidelines established by the Health Ministry and international practices set by the World Health Organization (WHO). The Commission also dismissed claims that water from two major facilities in the corporate area, namely the Seaview and Constant Spring water treatment plants, is unsafe. The NWC says operations at the systems are always within the stipulated standards. According to the Commission, advisories on the quality of the water should only come from the Ministry of Health. It says the ministry has not raised any concerns regarding the water provided by the NWC. The Commission also notes that the ministry has not issued any advisories instructing Jamaicans to boil their drinking water. The Southern Regional Health Authority (SRHA) is urging Jamaicans to be careful when pulling pranks that could be harmful, resulting in the need for medical interventions. The SRHA issued the warning in response to a recent incident in which a young man's hands were glued to the steering wheel of his car. The incident was a prank and carried out by a couple. The man required medical intervention aided by several hospital staff members. The authority says incidents like these place additional pressure on health officials and an already overburdened health system. The SRHA says pranks like these can also put persons in danger, leading to potentially serious incidents and accidents. It is further urging persons to stop videoing healthcare workers and clients in public health spaces without their consent. It says this was done and uploaded to social media as part of a prank. The SRHA says while pranks can be enjoyable and harmless, they should not be conducted in a way that violates laws and regulations or causes distress and endangers the safety of others. Mario Dean was not released on bail because he said he did not like the police. That's the statement of a now deceased witness, which was entered into evidence in the trial of 3 JCF members implicated in Dean's 2014 beating death. The statement, which was taken during the witness deposition, was read into evidence by the registrar in the Westmoreland Circuit Court on Thursday. Shalois Michael reports.
The case centers around the actions of Corporal Elaine Stewart, Constables Juliana Cleven and Marlon Grant. The three were allegedly on duty at the Barnett Street Police Station in St. James when Mario Dean was arrested for a ganja spliff on August 3, 2014. They're all charged with manslaughter, perverting the course of justice and misconduct in a public office in relation to Dean's death 3 days later on August 6. Dean was viciously beaten while in lockup. He received severe injuries to his brain, which left him in a coma. The witness was a security guard at the Barnett Street lockup at the time of Dean's death. On Thursday, the witness, in his deposition statement, read into evidence by the registrar in the Westmoreland Circuit Court, said he was at work when he received a call from Dean, who had been arrested. The witness said he went and got a bail bond paper and a photograph and had them signed by a justice of the peace. He said upon his arrival at the police station, he saw 3 police personnel in the guard room. The witness said he was sent to another room at the back of the station where he saw Corporal Stewart. The witness stated that he gave her Dean's name, the bail bond document and the photograph. According to the witness, Corporal Stewart took the items and sent another policeman whom he did not know for Dean. His deposition continued, saying when Dean arrived in the room, he looked normal. According to the witness, Corporal Stewart then said Mario Dean did not even know his address. He said Dean turned to her and indicated that the address was in the guardroom book. According to the witness, Dean then said he did not like the police. The witness said this statement seemingly displeased Corporal Stewart because she then returned to him the documents he had earlier handed to her for Dean's release. He said Corporal Stewart then told him to come back at 5. He said on his return to the station at about 3 p.m., he again saw Corporal Stewart, who then told him that Dean was beaten by prisoners. The man said an inspector later came and spoke to him, after which he left for the Freeport police station. But according to his statement, nothing happened. The witness said he then visited the Cornwall Regional Hospital, where Dean was taken after being beaten. He said Dean was lying on a bed covered in blood, with a brace around his neck. According to the witness, Dean was unrecognizable. His face was battered and he had blood coming out of his ears and his nose. Dean died 3 days later on August 6, 2014. Shaloy Smichael for Nationwide News.
The Caribbean Institute for Health Research is raising concern that while the malnutrition rate among children and adolescents has declined, there has been an increase in obesity. Research fellow Dr. Susan Soares Winter addressed a forum on healthy food policies for children and youth at the UWI regional headquarters earlier this week.
We're not seeing a lot of the severe malnutrition that we used to see stemming from the Caribbean Institute for Health Research, where our unit, the Tropical Metabolism Research Unit, where we used to treat malnourished children, we actually closed our work because we don't see the severe malnutrition that we used to see in the 70s and 80s. So there is improvement in child health in that regard. But because of what they call the nutrition transition, there is now this shift to children being overweight or obese.
According to data from the Jamaica Youth Advocacy Network's last Health and Lifestyle Survey in 2017, 20% of Jamaican boys and over 26% of girls aged 13 to 17 were considered overweight. The data also revealed that in 2017, over 30,000 children were diagnosed with high blood pressure. Dr. Soares Winter says a recent study revealed that 1 in 3 children are overweight.
For school-age children, we've done a study in children, maybe just over 700 school children in primary schools in Jamaica, and approximately 1 in 3 children in that study were overweight or obese. So we're not seeing a lot of the severe malnutrition that we used to see. And in the global school surveys where adolescents from 13 years and up are also seeing that 1 in 3 children being overweight, and their diets have a high consumption of sugary drinks, so their percentage of calories from sugar is far exceeding what is recommended.
And we apologize for the quality of that insert, and that was Dr. Susan Soares Winter, Research Fellow at the Caribbean Institute for Health Research. Jamaica Youth Advocacy Network has noted that the prevalence of ultra-processed foods and sugar-sweetened beverages in school environments has contributed significantly to the rising numbers. On the international scene, Israel has carried out multiple airstrikes on Lebanon after several rockets were fired from Lebanon into Israel, which was the worst violence since a ceasefire came into effect in November. The Israeli military said it had hit dozens of rocket launchers and a command center belonging to Hezbollah, the Iranian-backed militia and political group in southern Lebanon. Lebanon's health ministry said 6 people, including a child, were killed in the airstrikes. Pope Francis will be discharged from Rome's Gemelli Hospital on Sunday and will need at least 2 months of rest at the Vatican, doctors treating him have said. The 88-year-old was admitted to the hospital on the 14th of February with a severe respiratory infection that resulted in double pneumonia. And now to sport. Jamaica's senior men's football team had to come from behind to earn a 1-1 draw with St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the first leg of the CONCACAF Gold Cup preliminary round tie at the Arnoldsville Stadium on Friday. Despite the Reggae Boys dominating 73% of the ball possession and 16 shots with 7 on target, it was a Vincy Heat that scored first. Alex Anderson put the hosts in front in the 65th minute before Leon Bailey found the equalizer for the boys in after 8 minutes of stoppage time from the penalty spot.
Alex Anderson is in. Can he score? Yes, he can! Once again, Alex Anderson is the man for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He gives them the lead against Jamaica in the Gold Cup prelims. And with 25 minutes to play, this is an almighty kick here. It's Leon Bailey scores. The Reggae Boys have rescued it here in stoppage time. Leon Bailey equalizes from the penalty spot.
Coach of the Reggae Boys, Steve McLaren, says the score is not a true reflection of how well the boys played.
Some of the opportunities that we had on another day would have been 2 or 3 up before we conceded. And that's one of them games that you get. Like I said, there's no easy game in the Caribbean, and this was not an easy game. And I think the players know that. That maybe, we got away with that one. We got to make sure on Tuesday we don't allow the mistakes and the transitions where they're very dangerous.
Steve McLaren, the players will meet in the second leg at Sabina Park on March 25. And now for a recap of the top stories making the news at this hour. Path students will ride for free when the government's rural school bus service is implemented come September, says Transport Minister Darl Vaz. NWC dismisses claims that water provided by the company is unsafe for consumption. According to statement from deceased witness, Mario Dean was not released on bail because he said he did not like the police. You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app available on Google Play and the App Store. News is next at 5 tomorrow afternoon, but stay tuned because coming up next we have Sports Nation Live with Wayne Walker and Eric Swaby.
Is your business tax compliant? At Dodge & Global, we take the stress out of tax planning, ensuring you maximize deductions and minimize liabilities. From corporate tax to VAT compliance, we've got you covered. Call 876-929-3670 or 876-926-5210. Email us at info@dodgen.global. Visit us at dodgen.global. Dodge & Global, your tax experts.
Coveside Concert Series presents Timeless. It happens on March 29 at Plantation Cove, St. Anne, featuring international superstar Dionne Warwick and more stars Myrna Hague, Queen Marcia Griffiths, and Dwayne Stevens. Timeless, March 29. Showtime is 8 p.m. and tickets are now available at Fesco, Fontana Pharmacy, Plantation Smokehouse, and online at coveside.aitix.com.
Outperform, outlast, guilty. With top performance, guilty. Jackama, reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electrician. Fancy select tools, 3 parts and 3 repairs. 3 parts, 3 repairs. 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-61114. Delta Supply, we service what we sell.
Okay, good afternoon. It's Saturday, March 22, 2025. If you bowl it, we'll hit it for 6. If you pass it, we'll score it. Give us a pool, we'll dive in. And as fast as the starter's gun fires, we're at that finish line. I'm Alex Raby, and with me is Tanil Mullins. This is Sports Nation Live on Nationwide 90 FM, nationwideradiojm.com, and Flow Channel 916. You can also tune in to our program live on our YouTube channel, Nationwide 90 FM, and remember to like, subscribe, and share our content. Coming up, we have another packed and exciting show lineup for you. We'll be talking track and field, Olympics, swimming, and much more. But first, an athletics lesson from 1 Corinthians 9, verse 24.
1 Corinthians 9, verse 24. Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize. Did you notice when reading this verse that it doesn't say you must win or you will win? It is actually telling us that the kind of effort and dedication victory requires. Competing with integrity is the key here. Anyone can cheat and win, but what does that do us morally? It's not about winning at all costs or abandoning your values to do anything it takes to win. This is telling us we need to perform at our absolute best and have the self-discipline to compete in a focused, well-practiced, and strategic manner. If we do that, we will perform in such a way that will be nearly impossible to beat. Will we get beat sometimes? Absolutely. However, in performing with honor, we can feel victorious even in a loss.
Okay, so that was our athletics lesson from 1 Corinthians 9, verse 24.
And today in our feature, You Just Had to Be There, we relive Jamaica's under-17 girls 4x4 meters relay, winning their event in 3 minutes 43 and 59 seconds at the Carifta Championships inside the National Stadium in 2022.
Set. Off they go for the 4x400 for under-17 girls. Bermuda, Jamaica, Martinique, the Bahamas. The Jamaicans going on fast with Sabrina Dockery, a brilliant 400 runner, although she only contested the 200 meters here. She had full started at the Jamaican Carifta trials, got redemption over 200, and here she is running a storming opening leg with the Bahamas and Martinique also running well, battling for silver and bronze in the early stages of this 4x4. This is a devastating opening leg by the Jamaican Sabrina Dockery. Terrific opening leg.
Strong opening leg by Dockery. The lead is commanding already after one leg, and Jamaica will cut over on the backstretch with a 30-meter lead.
Kwana Walker, bronze medal in the 400 under-17 girls, and she has the lead for the Jamaicans. It is a massive advantage here. Bahamas comfortably in second position. Looks like Bermuda now in third, ahead of Martinique. Kwana Walker leading for the Jamaicans. The change is made.
Walker 55.6 on my clock for the second leg. She stays on the track. Bahamian step by her. Jamaica now further out now, 25 meters in front.
Jamaica large and in charge of the 4x400. This is about a 100-meter lead for the Jamaicans. Bahamas in second position. Mighty battle for the bronze medal between Martinique and Bermuda. Jamaica has the 400 champion on the anchor leg, Abigail Campbell. Bahamas in second position, Bermuda in third, ahead of Martinique in fourth.
A commanding lead by the Jamaican team. The 400 champion, safe pair of hands with the baton, that's Campbell, wiring up the back straightaway with 200 to go.
Jamaica in front by at least 110 meters, Ricardo.
She has a personal best of 53.75 over the flat 400 meters. Was disappointed that she didn't better that in the individual 400, but now she is racing to gold for Jamaica. Swept the 4x1s last night, Jamaica, and they start with a fabulous victory in the 4x4s tonight.
Mobbed by her teammates.
Battle will be strong for bronze. They need to be careful because the other teams will come rushing in.
Was our feature, You Just Had to Be There. Jamaica winning the under-17 girls 4x4 100 meters relay at Carifta in 2022. And we'll now take a break on Sports Nation Live, and we'll be back with more.
Hop into action this Easter with a loan from Chris and Charles. Borrow $575,000 or more with payments starting at just $12,595. Whether you're renovating, consolidating debt, or investing in your future, we've got you covered with fast processing, unbeatable rates, and exceptional service. Better hurry. Just like Easter buns, this offer won't last. Call 876-926-0609 or visit chrisandcharles.com today. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
Total Tools is now open in Drax Hall. Mondays to Saturdays from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sundays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and open on holidays. Visit them at Lot C6, Drax Hall, St. Anne. Telephone 876-972-6328 or 876-373-2729. Total Tools. Every tool, every trade.
Okay, good afternoon. Welcome back to Sports Nation Live. I'm Alex Ribby, working with
Tanya Mullings
and Kevin Williams on the other side of the glass. We'll jump over now to Jamaica College at the Asinine Stadium, where Wayne Walker is at to give us a live report from Velocity 16. Wayne, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Alric. Thank you so much. You're right. We're here at the Asinine Stadium up at Jamaica College for Velocity 16. And it's on in earnest at the moment, and I'm seeing a lot of big names here. I've seen Rochelle Clayton, I've seen Team Blake, there's Arne Hughes, there are a number of them, and it looks like the national championship. So if you hear people complaining about the national championship coming too early in June, you have to complain about this one, because this is in March, because it does look like the national championship. And now you have something to complain about. All right, so I just witnessed the final heat of 5 in the men's 100 meters. 24 came through, and I'm just going to give you the top 5, because there's going to be an A final, there's going to be a B final, and also a P final. Arne Hughes, the British record holder, at 10.11 seconds, was the fastest of all the heats, so he topped it. Hakeem Blake, he did 10.23, and Adrian Carr, 10.37. Jordan Morgan, 10.44. As I mentioned, it's going to be an A final, a B final, and a C final, so they're facilitating all the people who participated in the 100 meters. The women's event, so Toby Amusan, the world record holder over 100 meters hurdle, she did 11.41 seconds. Of course, you know she's been training here in Jamaica at the Racers. Serena Cole, 11.50 from MPP. Remember her from Edwin Allen. She was the second fastest of all the qualifiers, and she did 11.50. Kashika Cameron did 11.54. She's from Elite Sport. And, of course, Lavania Williams, 11.57, also from Elite. And we also have Anthony Strawn, the Bahamian, who trains at MVP. She did 11.71 seconds. So those are the prominent ones in the women's 100-meter finals that will go on a little later on. Sean B. Thompson is currently participating in the men's long jump. 5 attempts so far. He's so far 8 meters 02. And he's leading David Tomlinson, who did a lifetime best 7 meters 50. So we're watching the 400 meters. Rochelle Clayton is in this one, and I saw her lining up. I thought she was going to do the 400 early, but she's in the 400 meters, and she's traveling so very, very well in that orange of the Puma. She takes them along. She's leading the pack at the minute. There are 7 in this one, and they're up to where the 200 meters marker starts, and Clayton just into the crown of the bend. She takes them along. She has about a 2 or 3 minute lead over Anderson, but they come into the crown of the bend, the real crown now, entering the straightaway. And it is the 400 meters hurdle specialist, Rochelle Clayton, who takes them along. Her bright orange is just bouncing off the red track here at Asinine, but she's now been reeled in by Anderson. She's in second at the moment. Anderson is slightly ahead of Rochelle Clayton, and right now it does seem as if Anderson will take this one. And in fact, she does ahead of Rochelle Clayton, who came second. And remind you, it's a 400 meters, not a 400 meters hurdle, because you might be wondering which Anderson beating Rochelle Clayton in Jamaica. And yes, it's a flat 400 meters. Of course, all of this is going towards the national championship. I tell you what, I've got Leighton Levy with me, Alric. I've seen this man at every track meet, at every track press conference that I've gone to so far this year. I'm taking count. I won't give you the number, but I just want to sort of get an insight into what he's thinking as far as, first of all, Velocity Fest so far is concerned. And of course, we have a massive track and field season ahead of us. Leighton, no stranger to Sports Nation Live. In fact, a conceptualizer. Let me give you your proper title, sir. Leighton, thanks for stopping by and having a chat with us. What have you seen so far today that impressed you? A number of big names are here.
Well, Arne Hughes looked really sharp, but of course, Hakeem Blake, 10.23, I think this was a flash time. Both look really, really good, and with both of them set to participate in the Grand Slam track in just about 2 weeks' time, you have to, it kind of raises your blood pressure a little bit in terms of anticipation of what to expect in 2 weeks. But of course, I missed Toby. I got you just after Toby race, but I heard she looked pretty solid. Heard she looked strong mid-race, and this is for a hurdler running a flat 100. So I'm hoping that she runs the final later on, so that we can get a sense of what she can do later on. But so far, the performances have been good. But Daniel Hughes looks really sharp at 10-1 early in the season. This is just March, and of course Hakeem Blake, as you know, ran a couple of 200s this year, 20.27 I think was the last one,
and looking really sharp here again today. So it looks like the big two of Oblique Seville and Kishan Thompson is going to become the big three in 2025.
Yeah, that 10.11, it drags me back to when Zana was at Kingston College. When he won the championships at the boys class one, I seem to remember it was 10 what he did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he looks really good. One of the things that impressed me most about it, I think this is his 100-meter opener for the season, and he looked pretty relaxed because it was not, his field was not a deep field that heat, but for him to easily, and into a headwind I think it was as well. So just that 10-0 is on the cards already, and of course looking forward to another 2 weeks when probably a small taper for Grand Slam track. We're looking at sub-10s right now. He's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I see him warming up. So it does seem as he's going to come back later for the final. In fact, he told me when he ran the 60 meters at the National Stadium, one of those meets, that he was going to do 2 more 60 meters. It was a long time ago, but he's going to focus on the 100 because for him this year, it's no longer just about being in the final and finishing 3rd and 4th and 5th. He says he really believes that he has what it takes to really get to the top of the podium.
Yeah, he's been knocking on the door for a while, and he's had his problems with false starts. But I think breaking through and winning a medal at the Olympics last year in the 4x1 really helped him, I think, in terms of his confidence. He said as much in an interview that I read shortly after the Olympic Games. And I think gradually over the past few years, you have seen him being frustrated with injury issues, with not delivering on the big moments, especially for Great Britain. And of course, winning that medal last year, I think, really has done something for his confidence. And I think it will manifest. I think it's going to spill over into what we see from him this season. So his development has not been linear, but progress really ever is. And I think I think we're going to see something special from him this year. Perhaps a 9.7 finally. Because I think he's always been capable. This is a guy who's run 19.7 over 200 meters. I think 9.7 is not beyond him. So going into the World Championships with his way down in September, and he'll have all of that time to run at meets in the Diamond League in Europe, I think we'll look at another contender for medals in Tokyo in September. And I think in reality, I think it's a good thing because look, I had a conversation with a friend of mine this morning who was lamenting that he's not as convinced about the performances of our athletes these days when compared to the previous era, meaning the Usain Bolt era. And I said to him, look, you have to understand that era was perhaps the greatest in track and field where the performances are concerned. Because you had in Jamaica, you had the fastest man in history, the second fastest man in history, and the 4th fastest man in history. How often does that happen in any country? So what we're seeing here, though, is things have tapered off to a level where 9.7, 9.8 can get you on the podium. And I think Daniel Hughes is there.
Yeah. Are you concerned? I was going to use the word worried. It's a little strong. But are you concerned that you've not seen anything from the ladies as far as the 100 meters are concerned?
Not really. Why? I think, look, over the years, we've been accustomed to seeing the Shericka Jackson, the Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, and Liane Thompson eras who are established stars. I think all of them right now on the wrong side of 30. And of course, Liane, we don't know what to expect because she's coming off an injury. She's 32 years old. We don't know what to expect from her. What I think is happening is that there's a lack of patience to see the young stars develop. The Clayton Prince, people expect them to be running fast. So maybe not. Maybe this is the year that they break through. When I say breakthrough, I mean breakthrough in a big way and being on the podium. We have Christoph Slowly. We have perhaps a Brenna Williams coming back. We have a Brenna Liston who's coming through. So there's a bunch of youngsters right now who are within the ranges of 20 to 23 who are still evolving. They're still developing. And we need to be patient for them to then make that transition. People forget that it took Usain 4 years to get to Usain Bolt we saw in 2008. We have to be patient and allow these kids to develop because they're not going to get up tomorrow morning and start to run fast. It's a process, and not everyone will make it. Some will break through, some won't. So we just have to be patient and hope that the ones that we want to see break through come through.
Thank you very much, Leighton. All right, so that's the Leighton Levy. Of course, Chad Wright and Cedric Dakers are also here. In fact, the men's discus is already on the way. Chad Wright has already thrown 60.08 meters, so it is pretty much on the way, and he takes a very, very early lead. But of course, as I mentioned, it's early in the piece, and we're going to be just sticking around here at Velocity Fest 16 for more reports. We've got swimming up at the National Stadium. We've got that on our minds as well, so we could very well make it up there as well. It comes down to how much longer this championship is going to be because there's still got a lot more to go. and we'll just play it by ear to see what happens. But it's been a fantastic day so far here at the Ashenheim Stadium for Velocity Fest 16. It's a big track and field year. Everybody's coming out. Everybody wants to get onto the team to Tokyo and in other meets around the world as well. So we're going to leave it there for now, but a little later on, you can come back to us here, and we'll give you the very latest development from Jamaica College.
Okay, Wayne, thanks much. That was Wayne Walker at the Velocity Fest 16 at the Ashenheim Stadium at Jamaica College. We take a break and we come back with more here on Sports Nation Live.
Coveside Concert Series presents Timeless. It happens on March 29 at Plantation Cove, St. Anne, featuring international superstar Dionne Warwick and more stars Myrna Hague, Queen Marcia Griffiths, and Dwayne Stevens. Timeless, March 29. Showtime is 8 p.m. and tickets are now available at Fesco, Fontana Pharmacy, Plantation Smokehouse, and online at coveside.aitix.com.
Maxfield Bakery for breads and buns and bullets too. It's Maxfield Bakery for the best Easter bun, you know that's
Maxfield Easter bun, the juicy fruity Easter bun. Order online and send abroad at maxfieldbakery.com or call Maxfield Bakery at 926-2160 or 929-3897 and get yours before they're done. Scatter says so.
But is this real? Hey Greg, come look at this. Oh my, it's happening. Mr. Daniels, the numbers keep getting bigger and bigger.
Sir, the clicks are off the charts.
Hello, sales? What's the emergency? 9,000 clicks in one day? 3,000 order? So how much we have left? What? I soon call you back. Mr. Nakamoto, it's Danny from Jamaica. I need 5,000 of the big ones. We're back in business.
Yes, sir. Arigato. Suene. Amplify your brand. Let Nationwide 90 FM assist you in tapping into a captivated audience across our social media platforms. For more information, contact us at 876-630-1210 or sales@nationwidenewsnetwork.com. Businesses, companies, and entrepreneurs, let's supercharge your brand.
Okay, good afternoon. Welcome back to Sports Nation Live. I'm Alric Swaby, working with
Taniel Mullings
and Kevin Williams on the other side of the glass. We'll be talking some boxing and Olympics now, as Zimbabwe's sports minister Kirsty Coventry has been elected as the new president of the International Olympic Committee, IOC. The 41-year-old former swimmer, who won 2 Olympic gold medals, replaced German Thomas Bach, who had held the role since 2013, and becomes the first woman, the first African, and the youngest person to hold the role. World Athletics boss Lord Coe was among the favorites to win Thursday's election in Greece, but Coventry secured an absolute majority of 49 of the 97 votes available in the first round of voting. Runner-up one Antonio Samaranch Jr. won 28 votes, while Coe secured 8. Coventry, who already sits on the IOC executive board and was said to be Bach's preferred candidate, is the 10th person to hold the highest office in sports and be in the post for at least the next 8 years. Coventry has won 7 of Zimbabwe's 8 Olympic medals, including gold in the 200 meters backstroke at both the 2004 and 2008 games.
This is an extraordinary moment. As a 9-year-old girl, I never thought that I would be standing up here one day, getting to give back to this incredible movement of ours. This is not just a huge honor but it is a reminder of my commitment to every single one of you, that I will lead this organization with so much pride, with the values at the core, and I will make all of you very, very proud and hopefully extremely confident in the decision that you've taken today.
That was Kirsty Coventry. Meanwhile, boxing will remain an Olympic sport after the International Olympic Committee unanimously voted for it to be included in the 2028 Games in Los Angeles. The sport was not part of the program for the next Olympics when the schedule was first announced in 2022. But the IOC granted provisional recognition for world boxing as the sport's global body last month before voting for its inclusion at the ongoing session in Greece.
Okay, and we are joined online by President of the JOA, Christopher Samuda, and the President of the Jamaica Boxing Board Association, Stephen Jones. Gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's our pleasure. I have co-hosting with me this afternoon, Taniel Mullings.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Taniel. I'm fine.
Okay, let's start with you, President Samuda. Kirsty Coventry becoming the first female to lead the IOC. Tell us how big a deal is this?
Tremendous, Eric and Camille. I have always said that when it comes to the electoral culture of the Olympic movement, we have to ensure that we vote persons with credentials and expertise, and we don't narrow it down to gender, race, or territorial positions. And this is a demonstration that the person who the members think have the credentials to lead the movement for the next 8 years received the vote. She is on, as you had indicated in your preamble, on the executive board of the International Olympic Committee. So she has gained the experience. It is also a win for the youth in the movement. It's a demonstration that once you have the expertise, interpersonal skills, once you have the vision, once you can understand the dynamics at the negotiating table, then the world is your oyster. And I'm very happy. I supported her for the presidency. And I think that it is almost revolutionary when you think about the history of the IOC and that it has been really led by men all of these years. So I think she will do very well, and she understands what is before her, and I have no doubt that she will deliver.
President Samuda, on paper and on the lips of a lot of persons' mouth, especially the media, British media that is, Ko seemed as the front runner. He was the architect behind the London Olympics. He has reformed World Athletics. What went wrong? He not only did he not win the presidency, but he only got 8 votes.
I think from the get-go we have to understand that the constituents of the IOC is far different from World Athletics as well as other international federations. That's the first thing. There are persons who are at the helm, particularly in the Olympic movement, as well as in their respective governments. So the constituency is different. The second thing is that she enjoyed a very good stint at the helm of the IOC, being on the executive board, and she's still an executive board member. And her interpersonal skills are very good. I think Seb, who I have a very good relationship with, read the dynamics incorrectly, badly. And even in the campaign, I think he could have repositioned his campaign, and had he done that, perhaps he would have secured some votes. But he read the dynamics entirely wrong.
Tell me, you said you would have supported her.
Yes.
What would yourself and others see that made you all line up behind her so overwhelming?
I think one, let us be practical. The president backed her, okay, and the president has had a very good resume as president of the IOC. Secondly, I think that there are voters who wanted a very innovative change, and they saw her as somebody who is exemplifying that. Thirdly, even among the men, I think that a lot of them felt that it was time now for her to take the helm of the IOC. Persons have been in positions of responsibilities, and they have been able to assess them and evaluate them. And I think that they were able to look at the other candidates, compare her track record with them, and also to say, look, youth is an essential part of the movement. And for sustainability, you have to have someone who is able to engage the movement, that fraternity of youth, who are the next generation of leaders. So I think all those factors came into play and made persons feel that this is the right person at the right time.
Mr. Semudo, how do you think her stance on the transgender athletes and women in sports played a part in her campaign?
That is such a very sensitive issue, and sometimes, Camille, you really don't know where people lie on that issue. They may say things on the platform, but then they may vote differently. I think it helped her in the sense that, persons place a lot of premium on inclusion. Okay? A lot of persons feel that the jury is still out where that is concerned, and that the IOC has to develop a policy position where that is concerned. And I think she has an opportunity to develop a very firm policy position. I know that support has been articulated in the past, but we really have not drilled down into the details in the context of an Olympic Games. And then, of course, utterances of President Trump recently. So that is going to be a test for her mettle when she sits at the table with President Trump, who has made his position very clear where that is concerned. But I think, generally speaking, the IOC members are one for inclusion. But how best we treat that is a matter of policy. And of course, you're going to have to take into account your members, because you get your support from your members. So she's going to have to telegraph to her membership, what do you think? What do you think the IOC's position should be on those two issues? And let us get your feedback so that we can, in fact, craft a policy position that we will articulate globally.
She was considered the golden girl by Mugabe. And
yes.
How do you see her performance as an athlete playing into really bringing what the athlete needs at the Olympic level, at the highest level, to her presidency?
Well, she's going to have to be very sensitive to the athlete's perspective of the movement. And she's going to have to, of course, put in a lot of infrastructure that will lend to the development of our youth in the movement, and also both at the competitive level as well as the professional level. That played a part in it. But strangely, Camille, I don't think was an overwhelming factor, because you're dealing with persons who on an average are about 60 or 65. Okay?
Yeah.
So I don't think that was a material factor that really influenced them in terms of, yes, I'm going to put my ex beside her. But it was a factor because some said, if we can't do it at our age, then she can do it at her age.
Okay.
Let's bring President Jones in the conversation. Jones, boxing was recently voted to be a part of the 2028 Olympics. But before we go there, let's hear your thoughts on Coventry's election as president of the IOC.
I think it's a huge achievement. Everything that she represents, and the fact of the matter, just been following it, was the landslide victory took me by surprise as well. I wouldn't have had a first-hand knowledge or a social table as President Samuda, but I mean, just in conversations, we too believed the race was between Coventry and Cole. So the overwhelming support that she got from just the voters itself, speaks volumes. And I think from everything I know, basically through conversations and through the pipeline of conversations in sport, that she's well versed and ready for the position, and we're prepared to support, gracefully the IOC as we've always have been, but support her position.
Right, and like we said, you're here for the boxing segment. Boxing, like I said, we said earlier in the preamble, was elected to be a part of the 2028 Olympic Games in Los Angeles. What has been the feedback from local boxers, from boxers around the region, and associations from around the region as to this development?
Well, first of all, it's a huge relief, a massive victory for the sport. Boxing is one of the oldest Olympic disciplines, and has produced some of the
greatest legends in sports history. So the decision to include it in LA 2028 reaffirms the global significance and ensures that generations of young athletes, including the athletes here in Jamaica, will continue to, have their Olympic dreams alive and well. So has been a huge relief, and now that they know definitely that the sport is in 2028 games. So everybody's excited, and we are grateful as well.
The reason for it being in the Olympics is because a number of federations would have moved away from the AIBA and sign up with the World Athletics. IOC would have cut ties with AIBA because of various challenges. What are some of the things that Jamaica Boxing Association as well as other associations would have sit down and said to those in charge of world boxing to say, okay, you have to ensure that this and this is in place so that we don't go back to what we are coming from with AIBA?
So the writing was on the wall for a while now. This wasn't overnight. I mean, IOC had made it clear from early that from the past International Federation, from AIBA, that there were reforms that were needed in governance, in transparency, and athlete protection. And basically, the fact that it was taking so long for them to recognize these reforms, World Boxing came together and we jumped on board with World Boxing, obviously because Olympic boxing is the highest platform for where athletes can get to. So World Boxing led from the front, working with the IOC and showing that we have the values, and as we've always mentioned, that it's a privilege to be a part of the Olympics, not a right. So with that, we just make sure that what's worked before, we stick with, but the change that needed to be made, we address those and work alongside with the IOC. And so we've done that. World Boxing, that is the federations that have come on board, and World Boxing has proven to be fully transparent from the get-go. And so now, given the provisional recognition, it means that they have met the very stringent conditions that the IOC put in place. And so with bodies like World Boxing and regional bodies like recently formed Pan American Confederation, we're seeing real movement in those areas.
And Mr. Jones, what are the plans by the Jamaica Boxing Association to put our athletes on the path for boxing at the Olympics?
So we're building boxing here in Jamaica. Basically, we're building strong momentum, through initiatives like the Gloves Over Guns, our monthly future shows. We're engaging youth in communities across the island. We've been using boxing as a tool for discipline and mentorship and development for a while. So the fact that we've launched monthly shows, increased school participation, and solidified partnerships with sponsors, it's still early, but our foundation is there. And LA 2028 gives us a clear target to accelerate our efforts. So we're giving our youth tangible goals to work towards. And, Jamaica has a rich boxing history. So the Olympics being a beacon of hope and pride, with LA now on the horizon, we can confidently invest in our grassroots program, our high performance training, and international exposure for our boxers. So we like I said, we've been building momentum, and it's only getting stronger from here.
And in terms of the grassroots program, will you be applying for any of the Olympic scholarships to assist with the development of the athletes?
So the great thing is we are very, I'm glad with President Smuda here on the phone, that we're very close relationship with GOA, and know that, again, President Smuda has walked with us through especially the past 2 years with the IOC having challenges with AIBA, with them now going out guiding. We've spoken with President Smuda every step of the way, guiding us in terms of separation from AIBA, joining World Boxing, and then now from our grassroots program to our elite program to ahead of that, which ultimately is professional. Is where we have the relationship where now President Smuda goes through the Olympic Solidarity program with us, and so now that we've been again in the 2028, we can reach out for the Olympic Solidarity funds and help with the grassroots program and our elite boxers.
Okay, great. And speaking of boxing, George Foreman has passed away, and we know he got a chance to box here in Jamaica. What words of condolences do you have, and how do you remember him and take motivation from his life?
I mean, it's not even a chance. George Foreman was a colossus, obviously, in the boxing world. And not just for his formidable power and skill, but he had a remarkable journey of reinvention. So from winning an Olympic gold in '68 and then coming to Jamaica, where we consider Jamaica to really be the platform that launched his career, because he came here and won the world title here with his famous fight over Joe Frazier, and then losing the world title famously to Muhammad Ali, I think a year after, then taking sabbatical, turned pastor, and then reinventing himself and becoming the oldest heavyweight champion at 45. His career was a testament for resilience and determination. And so what we do here with boxing and how we speak to our kids that are in the boxing program, especially in the developmental stage, those are two attributes that we say is the main factor for the success of life. Working up daily and being resilient and being determined in whatever field they have, whether it's sport, carpenter, whatever it is. If you find the goal, be resilient and determined. So when we heard about the passing for George Foreman, we're saying probably as a board we meet together, but we have to incorporate it if we can have a show each year that commemorates the Sunshine Showdown, in our grassroots program. And just because of what George Foreman meant to sport, not just worldwide, but locally here for us. And we wanted to make sure that his history and the history here is remembered for generations to come. So I think we're going to do something where we recognize the Sunshine Showdown in some kind of competition, yearly competition, to commemorate his legacy.
Right. Let's bring Samuda in and hear your thoughts and your words of condolence to as we remember the legend that is George Foreman.
Certainly a giant in the sport, and his influence and impact is beyond the sport. And sometimes we have to laud those persons who grew up in an environment where racism was rife, where they didn't have the access as boxers have today, when they didn't have a management staff that was really committed as a young black boxer. So we have to commend them, and we have to journey with them and learn from their journey. So when I heard it, in fact, I was somewhat in the cradle when he came here. And one thing I remember distinctly is that when I was being carried in, some people were leaving because the bout was over.
No.
It was that quick.
Oh.
It was really quick. But he has taught young boxers that you can achieve once you have the will to become. He has taught young black fellows that there is nothing by way of an impediment that will negate your real talent and the gift that you have gotten. And certainly in terms of the sporting fraternity, he has demonstrated, as Bama has indicated, that human spirit of resilience, courage, never say die, which I think is a critical part of any profile of any sportsman and sportswoman. You have to have that mettle and you have to have that quality in you in order for you to succeed. So our condolences go out as an Olympic association because he was Olympic gold medalist and he was a fine human being in the ring and out of the ring.
Right, and tell me, Samuda, speaking of boxing, boxing, track and field, swimming, gymnastics, those are like the key sports at the Olympics. And to hear that there was a possibility that boxing would not be there. Tell me how much did the GOA work to encourage the IOC and the World Boxing that this is a discipline that cannot be out of the Olympics?
Well, we made our position crystal clear at all meetings and sport meetings in particular from day one. So they knew the position of the Jamaica Olympic Association, and that position was fortified by Bomber's conviction and commitment. What, of course, we did, we spoke to our colleagues in the movement, shared our views as to why we think that boxing should become a staple, or remain a staple, rather, in the Olympic movement, and hope that we can reposition the sport given the disputes that were taking place. That is something, and it wasn't too difficult, because I got the sense that people were ready to readmit and to ensure that it remains on the agenda. So it wasn't a difficult exercise to convince people that it should be readmitted. And I'm extremely happy that it is, and it now gives us a chance in Jamaica, and I'll be working closely with Bomber to unearth that talent and transition that talent to the Olympic stage in demonstration of the policy that we have at the JOA, sport for all for sport.
Right, let's go back to Coventry being elected president of the IOC. She's the first woman, youngest, first African. But tell me, when you look at her manifesto and what your plans are for Jamaica Olympic, how do they match up with what she's saying to what you want for Jamaica?
There are touchstones. Decentralization of governance. It wasn't a particular emphasis in her manifesto, but I understand that she has articulated that position in quarters. A greater sense of ownership of the organization, particularly those smaller NOCs in comparison to the large NOCs like USA, Canada, et al. Certainly in terms of women in sport, they have always supported that movement. And we all see that it has an invaluable position and that it has a tremendous role to play in the development of the Olympic movement. In terms of youth engagement, we are always there on that point because we feel that that is the next generation of leaders, and therefore we have to give them an opportunity not only to own the organization, but to articulate at the very policy level. So a lot that she has there is in sync with what the JOA has said. What I would really want to see, though, is that she pays particular attention to bilateral and multilateral partnerships in regions as a way of creating sustainability. JOA is strong. We're strong financially. We have done relatively well in the last 5, 6, 8 years. But what I want to see is partnerships cross borders, across the Atlantic, because that is the only way that we are going to build synergies and that will lend to the sustainability of the movement and also discount possible fractures in the movement. So I would like to see her develop a policy where that is concerned that will not only achieve economies of scale in the operations of NOCs, but also to have a free flow of ideas and a neutrality of ideas that can only lend to the development and the strength of the movement.
And her, with Christy being the first native-born African to hold this post, how do you think, tying in with the smaller NOCs, how do you think her ascension to the post will help the African nations with their Olympic growth and movement?
Absolutely, Camila. She has offered a blueprint for young African women to ascend to the highest office. She has offered a syllabus, a curriculum, that will speak to the African competence in sport. I have done well at the Olympic level. I'm a gold medalist, and now I'm a gold medalist in administration. So it's a huge time for the Olympic movement. And I'm hoping that she will get the support. There are going to be differences in opinion. There are going to be intemperate aspirants. We all know them. I hope she'll be able to build a consensus and develop a mechanism that will inspire confidence in her very colleagues at the IOC level, and that will, of course, inspire the movement globally.
Right, and it seems as if this year is a year for women to lead a sporting organization. Just to bring back President Jones in the mix, the recent Pan Am Association that was recently formed, a female will be leading that one as well. And I understand that you were elected to the board, President Jones. Tell us about this president and this association.
So it's the Pan American Boxing Confederation. So that's the confederation that will be responsible for boxing in the Latin America, Latin, South, North America, Central, and the Caribbean.
Right.
So it's our president has been. She was actually before World Boxing was formed. She was nominated with the most votes as director for AIBA. And this was at our Congress about 4 or 5 years ago, before they had the challenges going on with IOC. So she has been in sport. She boxed before, and she has been. We have a relationship separately because she actually was finance director for Campari, based in New York, for a while. So so she had my full support, because I've known how strategic she is and how diligent she is at all levels, whether not it's in the business level or the sporting world. So she, when transitioned early over into world boxing, like I said, when everything started, when the reform started to be made, and she spoke outright about IVA needing to change when they weren't making the changes. She left with USA Boxing. So I expect that she's very competitive. So I expect, not just because I'm on the board of it, but I expect the Pan American Confederation to be the strongest confederation once all the other confederations are formed that build up world boxing. So we were the first confederation to jump out the gate. The others, Asia, Africa, once they get theirs together, which is happening now, I expect that with her leadership, we will actually be the hardest working one, and like I said, very competitive, and we have very competitive directors, myself included. And I think that we will. It's a huge step. It's a major step forward for Jamaica and Caribbean boxing, especially. And we're excited and encouraged about what's to come.
Tell me what's your role on the board?
A director. So you have the president, first vice president, second vice president, and four directors, and then you have other members like for the treasurer, head of sports committee, and I think finance committee. But so it is a matter of just strengthening the region, strengthening the sport, and leading the sport, like I said, for the helping make the decisions, right, for the sport in our region, Central America and the Caribbean, all the Latin America, so all rules for that govern boxing from Brazil to Panama to USA, Canada, Jamaica. We will govern the policies forward for this under world boxing as long as we're aligned with world boxing. And so basically, having a seat at the table, my push, along with Kathy Harper Hall from Barbados, would be to have the Caribbean region, have our Caribbean championships carry more weight. So we already had a board meeting, and they support the idea of having our Caribbean championships where our boxers compete well. But when they do that there, it's not just about the Caribbean championships. They actually leave with points that go towards an Olympic qualifier. So that's what we'll do. That's that I want to push for first and go from there. But I mean, it's really to go from the sport of boxing in the region that separates not just outside the Caribbean, but all of the Americas.
Right. And there are several Caribbean countries and other countries in the region who have not parted with AIBA. Are there dialogue to try and convince those associations to come on board with World Boxing?
The biggest dialogue that would be used to convince anybody was done 2 days ago when Mr. Bach announced that boxing is again included in LA 2028, and the only road to the Olympics would be through World Boxing. There's no other conversation. So a lot of them that took a long time to come over, they are already sending in applications into World Boxing. So I mean, the conversations it's clear cut. It took a long time, but we're here for the sport and to govern the sport, and there's protocols that have to be followed to become a part of World Boxing. And once they fill out the applications and meet the criteria, which is to make sure that they're in good standing with their Olympic association in each country and recognized by the government, then they should be able to come on board. So more countries, the applications are falling in rapidly from AIBO over into world boxing.
Okay.
Okay, and before we go, so we're looking on the dawn of a new era for the IOCs. President Samuda, your final thoughts on this?
I think the future looks bright. At least I know the future looks bright. And the success of the movement does not reside in the palms of her hand only. It is in our hands. And people have to understand that it is going to take a collective effort to ensure that the movement continues to enjoy sustainability, to continue to enjoy the financial strength that it has, and to ensure that the games becomes far more commercial, but also not too much of a burden on the host cities. So the games are our main thing. If the games go, we can always pack up and go home. So we have to ensure that that asset and property of the movement is not only preserved, but it is advanced.
One of the things that has been going around, one of the suggestions is like track and field, athletes who compete at the Olympics should be paid. Is that something at the forefront of Miss Coventry's tenure, or is it on the agenda in any way?
It will remain an agenda item. It has been for some years, and it will remain an agenda item. But my position on that issue is that we have to be careful that we do not monetize every aspect of sport to the extent that our young people and the next generation lose the essence and the value of sport. The Olympic Games are held because of the progress of the human physical culture, the human spirit, and we need to inculcate those values more. But I understand the pragmatism of earning. And you may have been aware years back, myself and my colleagues used to stage the International Business of Sport here, where we emphasize the business of sport and the commercial properties of sport. So I understand where Seb and others are coming from. And in fact, I laud the position when you are in fact remunerating athletes, because athletes go through a lot in order to represent their country. But we have to ensure that we have that preserve, that reserve, where value resides and not money, so that we can inculcate in our youth in particular and remind ourselves that sport is not only about money, but it is about the value of the human spirit, the value of interactions, and how we in fact view ourselves as human beings.
Right. And this was the same argument you would have heard with the collegiate situation in the USA, and you know they have loosened the strings a bit to ensure that athletes earn from their image and stuff like that. Is the IOC and other associations looking at what's happening with the US collegiate scene to sort of see if they could use that model in the IOC for athletes to benefit from competing at the Olympics?
If the truth be told, Alric, the IOC had begun relaxation for about a year or two ago. Okay? I think it is going to be continually debated. Okay? I see the value in relaxation, particularly in the American context and the collegiate context. I see the value where that is concerned. And I support athletes exploiting their own talent for reward and not being exploited by others who, of course, the reward goes into their coffers. So it's going to be continually debated, but I do not see in the near future any prize money being given for the Olympic Games.
Right. Okay then, gentlemen. Thanks much for your time. It has been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you very much, Samuel and Alric.
It's all right. Okay, so that was President of the JOA, Christopher Samuda, and President of the Jamaica Boxing Association, Stephen Jones. We take a break and we'll come back with more here on Sports Nation Live.
I saw something suspicious at work the other day and decided to speak out. I was afraid at first, but did it because corruption must stop. They never too liked the idea and even threatened to fire me. But I believe it's my duty to speak out against these things. Be a whistleblower and help eliminate corruption. Call the Integrity Commission at 876-968-6227 or email cpd@integrity.gov.jm.
A message from the Integrity Commission, United Against Corruption.
Come to Marshall's Pharmacy today for your free medication management consultation. Let us guide you in taking care of what matters most, the health of you and your family. Shop now for gifts, personal care, household and stationery items, plus print services powered by Print Corner. Follow us on Instagram at Marshall's Pharmacy. Call or WhatsApp us at 876-491-7841. We are open late every day to serve you.
Okay, good evening and welcome back to Sports Station Live. I'm Alex Swaby working with
Daniel Mullings
and Kevin Williams on the other side of the glass. We go back over to the Ashland Stadium where Wayne Walker is at Velocifest 16. Wayne, good evening.
Yes, Alex, 62.14 meters. Frederick Bakers is taken the lead in the discus, and it's round number 5 in the discus here at Velocity Fest. The lights are on, and the finals are about to get going. We've got quite a few finals to come, and we're waiting on those. And Frederick Bakers, 62.36 now. He has extended his lead, and that's after 3 rounds in the men's discus. Shadrach 60.60 is in second at the moment, and as I say, the finals are just about coming into play. We have not yet gotten the start list for the 100 meters to see which of the athletes who went will come back and who won't. And we're just having a quick look at the schedule here to see what's happening. And Alex, I know I'm putting Cubic Seaglobin on the spot, but he just walked into the venue, and I just want to have a quick chat with him. Cubic, you just seen Rashawn Clark a short time ago doing 44.98 seconds. That was really, really amazing to see him at this time of the year running that. The Jamaica lead is 44.97.
Yes, I mean, I think he's in fantastic shape. It doesn't surprise me. I think it's going to be a hell of a race from the Grand Slam. I think he's keen for that, for those 2 races. I don't see anybody beating him in the 400 flat in that race. And maybe even on the national team of Jamaica.
Another thing, QB, the whole question of the national championship scheduled for the time that it does, 26 June to 29. Rashawn is going to be one of those who might get caught up in the whole question of whether he decides to go for a ticket to Tokyo or to run at the Grand Slam.
Well, like I said, I've already said that he will lose approximately, if the loophole I can get through, he'll probably lose about 20% of his money, his base contract, and plus the chance at a prize money. It's a lot of money, you know, and for what reason? I don't understand why the J3 is putting the championships on that. They're outside of the 2 windows that is designated for the national championship.
Yeah, I don't know if you have an idea of what he's thinking, because you certainly can't give up a world championship spot to Tokyo, but you also don't want to give this up because you're signed on for 4 meets.
Well, most definitely he has to compete to make the world championship team. So it's a win-loss situation. So we deal with it as we get closer and see what pans out.
All right, QB, thanks. Alric, that's QBC Gobin. Of course, he's visiting today. He's here to watch his athletes run. Rashawn Clark is one of those. And sorry if you've been interrupted by the noise. We're close to the speaker box here at Jamaica College. But yeah, we're waiting on the finals. We're going to stick around here. I think we're going to forego swimming, but again, we're going to play it by air because there are some really nice finals coming up a little later on this evening. Well, the women's 200 meters coming up a little later, and in fact, the 200 meters for women are coming up shortly. If you want to take it back now and join me maybe in another 5 minutes, because Tina Clayton, I think, is here, and it does look as if some of the big guns are here in the women's 200 meters. So the option is yours. You can come back to me in a little bit for maybe a commentary or 2 of the 200 meters, or we could do it in our next report when you join.
Right. Okay, then Wade Walker at the Ashland Stadium at Jamaica College for Velocity Fest. We take a break and come back with more here on Sports Nation Live.
Who shops at Creative Building Finishes? You, the homeowner who creates luxurious spaces with our floor and wall tiles. The contractor and builder who are convinced that our ceramic tiles are right for the job. The architect and designer who make dreams come true with our wood look and porcelain tiles. Superior customer service, knowledgeable staff, inviting showroom, and you get where this is going, right? Shop 5 Red Hills Road or call 876-929-5553. Get tiles, get Creative Building Finishes.
Okay, good evening. Welcome back to Sports Nation Live. I'm Alex Weber, working with
Taniel Mullings
and Kevin Williams on the other side of the glass, or technical operator. We'll be talking some football now, as Jamaica's senior men's football team had to come from behind to earn a 1-1 draw with St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the first leg of the CONCACAF Gold Cup preliminary round tie at the Honestville Stadium on Friday. Despite the Reggae Boys dominating 73% of ball possession and 16 shots with 17 on target, it was the Vinci Heat that scored first. Olex Anderson put the host in front in the 65th minute before Leon Bailey found the equalizer for the boys in the 8th minutes of stoppage time from the penalty spot.
Olex Anderson is in. Can he score? Yes, he can. Once again, Olex Anderson is the man for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He gives them the lead against Jamaica in the Gold Cup prelims. And with 25 minutes to play, this is an almighty kick here. It's Leon Bailey, and Bailey scores. The Reggae Boys have rescued it here in stoppage time. Leon Bailey equalizes from the penalty spot.
The coach of the Reggae Boys, Steve McLaren, says the scorecard is not a true reflection of how well the Reggae Boys played.
You are the losing side this afternoon, but this evening you were on the losing side this evening, but eventually you go away to a 1-1 draw. Are you happy with the performance today?
Sorry, did you
Are
say?
you happy with the performance today?
Yeah, I think we dominated the game. I think we had 75% possession. I think we created 15 opportunities, 6 on target. The goalkeeper played well, and I don't know how we didn't score. And we know that St. Vincent, they work hard, they're organised. I said that before to everybody, the players, don't be surprised. I don't think we were surprised, we started well. But, you know, they proved on transition that they're very effective. And so, yeah, one mistake, we concede. We should equalise before that. And what pleased me was we kept going. We talk about the subs making a difference, the finishers coming on. And they certainly did that. I think Cephas added a lot to us. Warner Brown running behind was a threat in the box. But some of the opportunities that we had on another day would have been 2 or 3 up before we conceded. And that's one of them games that you get. I said there's no easy game in the Caribbean, and this was not an easy game. And I think the players know that. That maybe, you know, we got away with that one. We got to make sure on Tuesday we don't allow the mistakes and the transitions where they're very dangerous.
So a lot of our fans are saying Leon Bailey was very clutch, you know, in that moment, literally the final seconds of the game. What word would you use to describe him in that final moment to get that game tying penalty?
What do you mean, clutch?
Like clutch, as in like final moments in a pressure situation, he delivered basically. What word would you use to describe him? In America, we say clutch, and some places they say clutch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were. We kept going. We kept going and creating, and I don't know how we disallowed that goal that Dexter scored. I don't know. Ethan, the keeper, I don't know. Very great save. And we thought, that's it, time is running out. And it takes a moment like that. I've had many in my career where someone has to step forward, take a penalty in the last kick of the game and to get a result. And there was no one better than Leon to do that. It shows the bravery, but he's got that experience. He's in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. He's got that persona. He took responsibility and got the team out of a big hole.
In 4 days' time, we have the reverse fixture. Are you going to change anything that you did here today, as opposed to?
I think we will assess. We will assess. We have our thoughts, but we always evaluate the game after. And we always try to be not emotional about the scoreline. Try to live with the reality. But we know. We told them before, and nobody believed us at St. Vincent. I think, one defeat in 7, 1 defeat in 8 now. Great games against El Salvador, we know. Well organised, well coached, and a threat on transition with their speed, creating 1 or 2 opportunities. So the players know, and we have to make sure that we don't fall into the trap. I think the intensity and the competitiveness of St. Vincent was admirable. I thought they were really aggressive, and we have to make sure that we are as well. Come the second leg and make sure we don't make the same mistakes.
Lastly, for me, Coach, any message to the Jamaican supporters going back home? Anything you want to say to them to get ready to come back, to keep the energy high?
Yeah, as I said, coming here was, I think, no one believed me, but I thought, I've watched a lot of St. Vincent. This was going to be a difficult game. It proved that. And we had good spells by spells. We need to be better. We've said in there, we can be better, and we need to be better. And we need to make sure that, we escaped here with a draw. We've got to make sure we get the result on Tuesday. So we need the supporters, right? St. Vincent had the supporters tonight. We need them at Sabina on Tuesday to get the team going, cheer them forward, and make sure we get the result.
Meanwhile, the Jamaica Football Federation, JFF, announced that FIFA has formally and officially removed the federation from restricted funding. The JFF had been placed on restricted funding by FIFA due to governance and financial issues in 2020. This had resulted in the federation receiving limited funding in smaller increments. President of the JFF, Michael Ricketts, says it had been tedious work to address these issues and regain greater economic support.
I want to make an announcement. We were yesterday advised by the FIFA Audit Committee that based on reports coming in from the recently done audit, that we have now been formally and officially removed from restricted funding. This is welcome news. We are just absolutely delighted, and it was certainly a job very well done, and I must use this opportunity and this forum to express my absolute regard to, first and foremost, our accounting department headed by Mrs. Lewis, and of course the other staff members, and probably most importantly, our GenSec, who would have masterminded and would have supervised the whole process. To the FIFA personnel who worked very closely with us, And I know sometimes that we felt frustrated, and I'm pretty certain that they would have gotten that feeling as well. When we thought that things weren't going well, we would have had a number of meetings. I remember calling a meeting while we were at a FIFA Congress in Bangkok, and I really was intent on getting from the horse's mouth what the issues were. And we had a meeting, and it went very well. In fact, the auditors re-summoned us to a meeting the following morning, as we would have presented our case, and they demanded of us that we present to them documented proof of what we would have said to them that we were doing. We were able to have done that the following morning, and of course, they followed up, and they were really intent on giving us the kind of support that would have helped us so that we are where we are now. And again, the process was long and tedious, but we were intent on getting things right. And eventually, after having several consultations and having a number of meetings with key stakeholders from FIFA, we got official documentation yesterday that in fact we were removed from restricted funding. What this means is that things will be a lot easier. We will be treated differently for sure, because now we would have met all the requirements that were set out by the audit committee from FIFA. They are very comfortable and very happy with where we are now. The owners certainly will be on us to ensure that we continue on this trajectory, to ensure that we continue to do things how they would want us to do. We are doing very well from a fiscal perspective. We're managing our accounts a lot better. The staff at that department has been excellent, and it would be extremely remiss of me not to mention the work of Grace, Claudine, and Lysandra, who really would have done such an excellent job, supervised, of course, by the GS. So we are voting, we're happy. Again, I must use this opportunity to express my absolute regard to those stakeholders at our parent organization at FIFA who would have worked as seriously with us to ensure that we would have got things right. And they sometimes must have felt frustrated, as we would have sometimes. But the saying goes, all's well that ends well. And again, I must say thanks to the FIFA persons who would have given us tremendous support. And thank you so much, gentlemen and ladies from FIFA who would have given us the kind of help and the kind of support so that we have now been removed from restricted funding.
JFF was asked to ensure their financial records are clean and audited statements delivered on time in order to satisfy FIFA's requirements to have the restriction lifted. Head of the MA Finance Services at FIFA, Christoph Suppiger, says FIFA recently completed an audit of the JFF and the feedback received indicates significant improvements.
The President said it's actually good news to be shared because the Governance, Audit and Compliance Committee of FIFA has been lifting the restricted funding mechanism for the Jamaica Football Federation. The Jamaican Football Federation has been under restricted funding since 2020. So now we are in 2025, and finally we could share this good news. And this is based on the achievement that has been reached, on the improvement that has been done by the Jamaican Football Federation over these past years. So as part of the FIFA forward regulations, each year FIFA appointed auditors are doing some agreed upon procedure checks on how member associations are spending the FIFA funds, the funds they get from FIFA. So this applies for all our member associations. In the case of Jamaica, we have, in agreement with the member association, already done last year. The FIFA appointed auditors from Ancora have shared the report with us. And indeed, it showed massive improvements when it comes to financial governance matters. As, for instance, the member association successfully accessed online banking system. They have upgraded the accounting software system, and additionally also made other efforts with regard to procurement procedure, for instance. Also, the level of supporting documentation has massively been improved, and the FIFA funded activities were fully supported with supporting documentation. Based on this really great achievement, the FIFA Governance Audit and Compliance Committee, on its most recent meeting that was held earlier this month, has taken this decision to lift the restricted funding mechanism for the Jamaican Football Federation, meaning that now the member association has full access again to FIFA funding.
Now, General Secretary of the Jamaica Football Federation, Dennis Chung, says the federation's removal from restricted funding means they will be able to access bigger installments than in the past.
We've always been speaking over the period, and you all know what has been happening with JFF from the point of view of the restricted funding. We had indicated that we would have gotten to this point. We were a little delayed because of the election, but we always had the confidence that it would happen. Let me say that I would first like to thank the president, because one of the first conversations I had with him when I was coming here is that we have to get off restricted funding, and that was always a goal that he had. Let me thank the president. Let me also thank FIFA and Christoph in particular with his team, who over the period has really given us a lot of support to ensure that we have got to this point, including providing us with a consultant. So FIFA has been very strong in supporting us. And finally, but by no means last, I want to thank the staff, and led by Grace and her team in accounts. I think that they've done a wonderful job. I could not have asked for a better support team to assist us through this process. And, as the president said, we set the direction, we supervise, but the persons who really do the implementation are the staff, from the accounts to the team management led by Roy, which includes Crystal, Karen, Marvin, of course, to the point where they were also annoying me to say, Mr. Chung, this can't work because this does not fall within the budget. And these are things that we have to do to ensure that we are compliant with the FIFA regulations and what is required for the use of funds. So the culture from the staff, I think, was very, very important for us to get here. I can say briefly that when I came here in 2022, it was a different culture. At 11:30 a.m., I was the only one in the office, and I can tell you now that it's totally different. So, the support from the staff, the persons I mentioned, Roy, Grace, Claudine, Isandra, Marvin, Karen, Crystal, it was just tremendous, the support that we've got, and we really feel like a very professional unit now. I know these guys are great professionals. So we're happy that this has come. And from the FIFA side, I mentioned Christoph, but certainly our Caribbean representatives, Jair, Bertoni, and Malaika, were very instrumental in us getting here. So we're happy for it. What I would say is that going forward, though, although we're announcing this is by no means anything to rest on and say that we've really gotten to where we want to go. We need to continue this journey. We need to ensure that we stick to and continue to improve the processes that are in place, because we can't disappoint everyone who has batted for us and ensure that we're here. So I just want to end, Simon, by saying thank you to everyone. Thanks to the president for believing in us. And as the president says, once we put the right people in place, then things will happen. So I'm very happy where we are today. I would ask that the media, you've always been talking to me. You know, I wanted to give you the opportunity to speak to some of the staff and get firsthand what the journey has been like from them also, since you've always been hearing from myself and the president. But thank everyone. Thanks for coming. And we look forward to working with everyone in the future also.
A member of the Accounts Committee, Grace Grant, says it was a team effort.
The team has been able to accomplish the lift of this restriction through hard work and dedication. Throughout the years, the team has worked really hard to target each and every audit point received. I can say we are now operating in an environment that practices good financial governance as we implemented policies, procedures, and systems to manage finances effectively, ensuring accountability, transparency, and adherence to the different regulations, which ultimately foster trust and stability. The changes implemented were felt right across the administration. Everyone participated, everyone contributed. The team stood firm and executed the plans towards removing the restriction and created an environment where proper planning and adherence to procedures is practiced amongst us all, which will then translate into governing football in Jamaica effectively and efficiently. I must thank everyone that has been a part of my team, a part of this administration, because every single person here contributed tremendously. Mr. Chung has been there for us throughout it all with his expertise. He led us towards this victory that we accomplished today. Thanks again to everyone.
Grace Grant, a member of the JFF Accounts Committee. With that, we take a break and come back with more here on Sports Nation Live.
Location, make Megamart your one-stop shop. Pick up your groceries and houseware needs, grab a bite and pay some bills, fill your prescriptions and see the beauty products in our pharmacy, all in one amazing location. My Megamart, the best value by far.
Okay, good evening. Welcome back to Sports Nation Live. I'm Alex Swibby, working with
Tania Mullings
and Kevin Williams on the other side of the glass, my technical operator. We join Wayne Walker at the Velocity Fest 16 at Jamaica College. Wayne, good evening.
Good evening to you, Alric. I noticed you have not introduced me to you again. Not Kevin.
I was just about to. This is Tania Mullings.
I heard the voice. I was just wondering.
She's no stranger. She's no stranger. She comes in from time to time and co-hosts with us.
Not a problem. I just was curious because I heard a female voice, and you don't sound that well, so I didn't know it wasn't you. So I was just wondering. So I'm happy that you could bring her in. Welcome, madam.
Yes, thank you for having me, sir.
Yes, and I hope we meet sometime.
Yes.
Aldrich is deliberately keeping us apart.
Most definitely.
It is fine. All right, so Aldrich, an update here just to tell you about the 200 meters for women. It went off a short time ago, and the winner was Shade Williams. Do you know her? She's from Barbados. She won bronze medals at back-to-back world championships in the 400 meters. So she really took Tia Clayton to the line, and she did 23.10. Tia Clayton finished up in 23.11. And the third was Kemba Nelson. So it was a packed 200 meters. Kemba Nelson's time, of course, was 23.32 seconds. There are other events taking place at the moment. In fact, the discus women final is over. And the winner with a season's best, 56 meters 16, was Samantha Hall. And she defeated Shade Lawrence, a Jamaica representative. In fact, Shade was in Paris last year, 55.96 meter, and the third was Victoria Christie, a new lifetime best, 48 meters on the nose, and the second and third were from Reckless Control, and the winner, Samantha Hall, she is from the MVP Track Club that is so vaunted here in Jamaica. The final of the long jump, the men's long jump, I'll give you that result just now. Let me just try to update my thing here because a lot's happening here, even at this time of the night. The javelin people are still warming up. So we've still got a long way to go here. As I told you, it resembles the national championship. So they're putting everything in place. So I'm looking now at the result of the men's high jump. Is it? Yes, the men's high jump. Nothing to really shout home about. Of course, Jamaica won a bronze medal at the World Indoors last night, well, day before. Raymond Richards, he won that bronze. So we're looking now at the men's high jump final here, and it was won by Jeremy Derek Tibbert from UA Mona. He did a meter 90, a season's best that for him. In fact, he was the only one who jumped because Kimani Thomas and Christoph Bryan were scheduled to compete. They didn't show, and so only one person in that one. The men's discus is also of interest to some people, and Frederick Dakers, he won that with 62 meters 36. You're listening to the stadium announcer doing one of the heats in the men's 200 meters. I think there are 7 of them. And the OC from GC Foster won that one. 21.26 was the winning time for him in a negative 0.6 meters. And so let me go back to giving you the discus results. Cedric Bakers, 62 meters 36. Second was Chad Wright, 60 meters 60 from Legacy. And the third went to Josh Mowat. And he's unattached. He did 52 meters 07. Let me just continue to give you some more results here. A lot of attention surrounded the men's 100 meters. I just saw Daniel Hughes just now warming up, so he's going back for tonight as well. Let me give you some 400 meters results, if you could prompt it. And so in the A final of the women's 400 meters, we did tell you that Rochelle Clayton was in action. Shauna K. Anderson from UTEC did 52.20, and reaction was at 0.2074, that one. And of course, there's also Russia Clayton. She finished second. We did give you that one, but we didn't give you the official results. Her time, 52.38. Of course, she runs for the Elite Track Club. And third was Alia Baker, from Elite. She did 54.12. That is a season best for her. The 200 meters still going on. I hear Zandria Barnes' name. Of course, you know, he's been doing very well this season at the sprints. And we look forward to see what he does here tonight. The men's 400 meters A final. That one was won by Rashawn Clark, as we told him, 44.98. It's a new meet record, a new personal best for him. And DeAndre Watkins from Elite did 45.59. And third was Xavier Brown of SWEP, 45.62. A new lifetime best there for Xavier Brown. We're just taking you through the results. We're trying to have a chat with Rashawn Clark, but doping control has taken him away, and so he's not able to talk to us about the outstanding performance of his tonight. And when they take them for doping control, he's going to be around there for a bit. I can tell you that much. Let me give you an update on the men's triple jump. That's in progress at the moment, just past the athletes there. And Siobhan Parkinson of GC Foster, he's leading with 14 meters 66. Siobhan McLeod, also from GC Foster, he is in second at the minute with 13 meters 64. In fact, they're the only two taking part. Sean D. Thompson was down to take part in this, but he was taking part in the long jump, and they went off simultaneously. So it was a little difficult for him, if not impossible, to go across. All right, so the javelin, men's javelin. Let me just give you results on that one. John Wayne Barnes. Well, the results are not yet up. The athletes are at the moment getting ready to participate in that one. So we're looking at 5 athletes in the 200 meters. One of them, I think, is the third one, and Sanjay Barnes coming to the line. In fact, Sanjay Davidson, who got there, 20.90 was a flash, and so he dipped below 21 seconds. So Davidson was really pushed to the line. He had a good lead coming into the straightaway. 20.88, the official time. He came into the straightaway looking a lonely man, but he was joined there with about 30 or 40 meters to go, and he eventually had to pull out all the stops to get across the line. But a good workout here for Sanjay Davidson, and as I said, it's 7 of the 200 meters heat. The women just won, and it was won by Shade Williams in 23.10 ahead of Sia Clayton, 23.11, and Kemba Nelson, 23.32 seconds. Of course, the track and field in Jamaica will reach its zenith next week, the Boys and Girls Championship at the National Stadium. And I'll just hold on for this 200 meters, the next one before we hand you back. Trying to get the lineup for this one.
And main number 8 is Singapore World Championship 400 meters.
Just trying to give you this. So Demish Gay is in the 200 meters here as well. Looking at, all right, so I've located the 200 meters, and I'll tell you the lineup for this one. Tony Watson, the 400 meters world champion, is also in this one, and Antoine Williams as well, Catrian Course, is also lined up for this one as well. So this is some 200 meters lineup, including the national junior record holder. We're talking about Boaje Nkume. He's in this one as well, and it's really a packed one, really big one. And Johan Blake is entered for today as well. So just stick around for this one before we hand them back to you.
Representing the racers, check down.
All right, so I've located. Right, so the lineup, let me do it again for you. So in lane 1, Xavier Main. Lane 2, Ashani Smith. In lane 3, Shamara Horatio. In lane 4, Andre Dakers. In lane 5, and in lane 5, it's Boaje Nkume, the national junior 100 meters record holder. He has a lifetime best of 20.74 coming into this meet. And Catrian Goldsman in lane 6 with a personal best of 20.74, just like Boaje Nkume. And Antonio Watson, the 400 meters world champion, and Demish Gay, who has represented Jamaica so far at 2 world championships. He has a lifetime best of 20.48. So they are called to their marks. And I must tell you that we're on the upward, way from the 200 meters. They're sent off, and a full field. And this is the second to last one in the 200 meters. So Nkume out in lane 5 is doing very well. In fact, Boaje Nkume has come into the straightaway the lead. Antonio Watson is also there as well. But Boaje Nkume is coming. Antonio Watson is coming through as well. And Antonio Watson is also a 200 meter specialist. So it's nothing surprising or strange here. 25. And Antonio Watson really doing well. And he's feeling it because he's run away from the rest of them. But Boaje Nkume made the early running. But the next thing you know, it was Boaje Nkume who was beaten by Antonio Watson. And it was a really nice 200 meters race here at the Velocity Fest. And it's good to see, it's good to see him running the 200 meters again, because since becoming world champion over 400 meters, he's really been in action in this particular event. So it's good to see him running it again, and good to see him also winning it. We almost thought that he'd forget how to run the 200 meters, but he looks really impressive here this evening. The lights are on and the stadium is brightly lit, and the action is all over the park. You can join us again for more a little later on, Alric.
Okay, that was Wayne Walker at the Velocity Fest 16 at the Asinine Stadium at Jamaica College. Before we go to the break, let's just say a special good evening to our friends on YouTube. David Nembar, good evening. Marigold Weber, best of Beat and Teach TV, Dwight Bonner, Errol Townsend. As we go down even further, we see PB. We say good evening to all of you. Ricardo Porteous, good evening to you. Richie Richards, good evening to you also. Let's see who else is here. But just good evening to all our friends on YouTube. With that, we take a break and we come back with more here on Sports Nation Live.
Is this real? Hey Greg, come look at this. Oh my, it's happening. Mr. Daniels, the numbers keep getting bigger and bigger.
Sir, the clicks are off the charts.
Hello, sales? What's the emergency? 9,000 clicks in one day? 3,000 order? So how much we have left? What? I soon call you back. Mr. Nakamoto, it's Danny from Jamaica. I need 5,000 of the big ones. We're back in business.
Yes, sir. Arigato. Suene. Amplify your brand. Let Nationwide 90 FM assist you in tapping into a captivated audience across our social media platforms. For more information, contact us at 876-630-1210 or sales@nationwidenewsnetwork.com. Businesses, companies, and entrepreneurs, let's supercharge your brand. Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We are having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM. Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour, fired.
Also tune into the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business, and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Beaniman. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
Okay, good evening. Welcome back to Sports Nation Live. I am Alric Swaby, working with
Taniel Mullings
and Kevin Williams, my technical operator on the other side of the glass. We're in our splash segment now. We'll be talking everything swimming, and we'll be talking with the winning coach of Immaculate Conception and the coach of Wolmer's boys. That's Chanel Hill of Immaculate and Kafia Rapley of Wolmer's. Ladies, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. Good evening, ladies.
And the voice you're hearing is my co-host Taniel.
Congratulations on winning the swim meets, the Mayberry swim meets.
Thank you. Bless you.
Ladies, it seems like the two of you are becoming a staple on Sports Nation Live. Every week I turn on the mics. Or is it that you're co-hosting the show? Okay, well, the Mayberry Swim Classic, the both of you take it. This is, you would have swept all the high school series for swim meets for this season. What's happening at Immaculate and Wolmer's? Let me start with you, Hill, Coach Hill.
Okay, so we have a good system in place for the girls to keep the trend going, and the girls are focused, and I like this set of girls because they are focused and they're willing. This year they're focused and they're willing, and it's easy for me to work with them. So I appreciate what my girls have to do, and I just glad that they just execute well this meet.
And Coach Cafe, what's happening up by Wolmer's?
Well, lots of amazing things are happening over by Wolmer's. I must say though, this is really a team effort. Every victory that we have, it has to do with the entire team. We all come together. Not all the boys are necessarily swimmers who are in training, but we get them to come out to represent their schools so we can garner the necessary points to come out victorious in these meets. So really big thanks to the management team and all the parents who support.
And I'm reading between the line, and what I'm hearing Coach Rapley saying is that next year she'll be coming for both the boys and girls section of the meets.
Well, Coach Hill, what do you say in response to that? We have to keep the ladies in blue on top.
Well, she can try, but I'm not going down without a fight.
You realize Daniel said we. So you know what that means, right, Coach Hill? But tell me, ladies, it seems you have a good program going at Immaculate and Wolmer's. Going into the season, what was one of the goals to win all three of the high school meets?
I will start. I mean, Immaculate, Coach Hill has always won all the meets. So I'm not saying she has it easy, but I'm just saying that they're defending champions. Wolmer's were also defending champions for the Mayberry meets over the past 3 years, I would say. But definitely, one of the main goals I had for this season was to win all three, and I knew that we could have done it. We had our fair share of challenges for this meet, the most challenging meet we have had all year, and Coach Hill can attest to that. But yes, that was definitely the goal for myself.
And you, Coach Hill?
Yes, I had a few mishaps this meet because of the rule that it's the top 16. So, I think two of my swimmers, they were bunked out, so they didn't get to compete. But other from that, I think it was a good meet.
And ladies, seeing that this is just before the intense preparation for external exams, did your senior team members, were they able to come out and add to the points?
No, so for example, from my team, I got the least amount of points from my older girls because they didn't come out for training at all because they are focused on their exams.
Yes, and
so I had to
despite
use the
that,
younger age group to capitalize on points.
Wow, so despite that you had such a large margin of winning, so then that means you have a really great team coming up, Coach Hill.
Yes, I do have a great team coming.
And Coach Cafe, how was it with you with the older boys who are maybe preparing for external exams?
Yes, the preparation, we were preparing them for this meet for a long time, as we knew that coming around this time would be the exam time. So, I mean, the school is really good at being lenient with the boys. They give them a lot of leeway in terms of allowing them to come to training, morning training. They may have them come to school half an hour later just to accommodate their training. So the school is very supportive. So we did have our full team up, and we needed all of them to win.
Is the top 6 from each discipline that would compete at the Mayberry meet this year around, which would suggest that these are the same swimmers that will be going to Carifta. Tell me, in terms of times and records, did this affect the sort of records or the number of records that would have been broken at the Mayberry meet this year? Coach Hill?
Okay, so I had, I think, 2 records that the girls were really trying to go under 2 minutes, but because most of them, they were in the finals and they had 2 to 3 swim before that swim, they broke the record, but they didn't go under the 2 minutes. Some were disappointed
I know two of my girls cried, but I told them it was okay under the condition that we were working with. I also have Addison Thomas that was also on that relay team that broke the 100-meter freestyle relay. And I also had a top girl, Rihanna Scott, that actually got the top girl award for the 15-16 age group. So, and I have 3 girls that are going to represent Jamaica. I have Addison Thomas, Mia Reed, and Alana Jones.
Right. And Coach Kafley, how did the swimmers' preparation for Carifta work against or for you in terms of records?
I think it more worked for them because this is a very important meet for them to see where they're at and where we're going to head in terms of training for Carifta. I think it helped them to break the record. They were not playing around with the meet to see, because when you're a Carifta swimmer, you tend to maybe not take the school meets as serious because you can just swim at any pace and beat the regular swimmer. So I think they took it very seriously. I saw where because this meet is heats and finals, which is different from all the other meets that we have gone to. So they had to swim in the morning and make the finals, and then they had to do all the events again in the evening. So it just showed me how strong they are, and Carifta has a similar setup. So it's definitely giving me a taste of what is to come.
Coach Rapley, going into the meet, there was some concern with the format, top 16. Persons weren't sure what to expect. Now that the meet is done and dusted, give me your assessment.
They actually moved it up to top 24. Wow. Because with all the clean from coaches. They moved it up to top 24, which we're grateful for. But it still locks out a completely whole demographic of swimmers. So, my review on this, I don't think it's beneficial for swimming. I don't think it will grow the sport because these are the same swimmers that we're seeing over and over and over. So with the grassroots swimmers are not getting a chance to really swim. I agree. Yeah.
And Coach Hill, what is your take on the format?
Yes, I agree because I actually just took it. Well, to be honest, I knew going into the meet I would have won easily because of how they set up the meet. I would have to be using my top girls. Usually, I would have carried other girls who I would just swim. I wasn't able to do that, and the girls who I tried, they were bounced out because of the rules. So I don't think this is helping the development of the swimming. I agree with Coach Ratley that we need to be doing more because it is really not helping the development of the sport.
So we need another meet then that would cater to the, as you said, the more grassroots
I
based.
think over the years, because of the change of rules that we had throughout the year this year, I don't know what is happening, but there was a lot of changes made this year, and I was thinking.
It was kind of sudden, the changes. Yeah. I don't think we had enough time to brace.
So we weren't even aware. You just look at the summons and it's just there.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And but you were able to rally your swimmers and come out on top. Tell me, Coach Hill, when you look at your various swimmers, were there anyone that surprised you? It's a top 24 that goes. That could compete, so you expect this will be the best of the best. But any of your swimmers would have surprised you?
Not really. As I said, I know that they were training. There wasn't any. I think what I would have given it was Addison Thomas. She actually was, said, Coach, I don't think I want to swim the 100 free. And I said, why? I said, no, Stevie, just do it. Just enjoy yourself. And she actually broke the record. So I was like, so Addison, you really didn't want to see when you broke the record. And she was like, oh, Coach, I just did it. So I think she would be the takeaway from me.
And Coach Rapley, on a broader note, and which of the age group you thought performed the best?
Definitely the 15-16 boys. We got 90% of our points from them. They won every single event, broke all the relay records. The A team, 3 of those boys are going to Carifta, so you can imagine the strength of that team that I would have had to work with. And I definitely worked them out. I moved them around. They saw
Seem to have lost Coach Rappel there. Well, Coach Hill, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, we'll try and reconnect with Coach Rapley in a minute. But Coach Hill, tell me, now that this meet is done and dusted, like I said, what's next for your swimmers?
Okay, so I am going to be focusing on some of my girls who I want to bring up. So I'm going to be focusing on girls who I have my eyes on to bring up to a point where I want them to compete. As I said before, I wasn't able to put some of those girls where I wanted to see what they're capable of and how they are going to manage competing with the other girls. So now I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board. I spoke to them. We're going to have to be doing intense training. So I don't have to leave out girls if they have rules like top 16. I'm trying to build them so they can be in the top 16. So for me, I am going to go back to the drawing board, especially for the older girls. I'm going to be just scouting out girls where I think, because when they get older, they tend to not want to swim anymore. They're focusing on scholarship, college. They really don't tend to focus much on the swimming at all. That's for me and my girls. So that's what I came across, and that's what I'm going to be working on, so I can have all my 4 age groups that are strong.
Right, and Coach Rapley, let me ask you the same thing. What's next for your swimmers?
What's next for them?
Right.
I mean, I'm saying this, but I think we're going into a unique position. We're going into a unique place. Or some of them are looking at schools overseas, not necessarily college. Some of them are not at the age to go to colleges, but they're looking at the Macaulay's, the Bulls of the swimming world, and they're looking at taking themselves away, for lack of a better word, to further their swimming journey a little bit earlier than previous. So we could be losing some of our boys, but losing them for bigger and better things, God willing.
Right. Tell me, when you look at your preparation for this meet, is there anything that you think you could have done better, or if you had more time, you would have done differently?
For me, to be completely honest and frank, I would have gone over my entries maybe a few more times and made sure that it was perfect. It was not perfect. So that's basically, yeah.
Speaking of your entries, how difficult was it to select the top 4 for the various events?
It was quite difficult because all the boys are deserving, and they're literally being selected with like few milliseconds of a difference in time, right? So it was a very difficult process, and then I had to manage the young men that you're telling, oh, you're not going to be able to swim this meet. Can you come and volunteer? Can you come and just be a part of the team? You have to manage all the emotions. I had to manage all the emotions as well of disappointing young men who are not going to swim.
And Coach Hill,
but it was a difficult process.
All right, Coach Hill, how did you explain to your swimmers why you weren't able to pick X over Y?
Actually, with me, I wanted them to have fun, so I did reach out to them and ask, what do you want to swim this meet? That is actually what I did, and I give them the choice of swimming. Some of them, I explained to them because of the rule that you can only do 5, I would have to say, okay, I'm going to put you in this relay, so I won't have you doing this that you asked for. But they were good. As I stated before, the 2 girls that were bumped up, they were really disheartened. As at the end of the day, when I reached at the stadium, I realized that they weren't really in. So I don't know if Coach Rapley had that situation, but when I actually I realized that they were bumped out or for whatever reason.
And Coach Rapley, tell me, like you said, yourself and Hill and other coaches would have said you aren't great fans of this new rule, top 24, top 16, whichever was used. But tell me, when you think of it, when I think of it, where you have the top 24 best, it tells us that the organizers are looking for speed and excitement. Did it materialize? Coach
I would say we had a lot of fast swims at this meet. I mean, we had Matthew Kennedy that broke the record that did a best time, and he's going to Carifta. We had Kyle Radcliffe and Walden McIntosh who did best times and broke the record in the breaststroke event. So I think we did get fast swim because it's more competitive, right? But I just think we need to have more meets where we're thinking about the development of the swimmers than fast swim, because we already have club swimming where we get all the fast swims that we need. So school meets, I'm not saying we should water it down, but it should definitely be looking at getting more swimmers into swimming. Yeah.
Right, and ladies, let me start with Immaculate. What was the support like from the school community and the past students who come out with their financial support and otherwise? What was the support like from especially the past students? Coach, let me start with you.
Okay, so pertaining to that, I know the old girls, they would have contributed. I know my principals, the acting principal and the one that is on leave, Miss Stacey Reynolds and Miss Ichna, they support us. They give us everything we need, and they're behind us 110%. I have some parents who really, really rallied around us. I have Miss Altia, you have Keslin, you have Cavalisa Mom. I had at least 5 persons on my management team who made my life so much easier this year, and I just want to thank them. I appreciate them and coming. I will be losing one, but hopefully next year, moving forward, the next 4, we come to bigger and better things next year. And I really appreciate all the love and support that I've got. I've also received a message from the old girls from New York chapter.
New York,
yes, the New York chapter,
not Jamaica.
No, well, we facilitate, the Jamaica chapter facilitates our international chapters. I must say that the Alumni Association of Immaculate continues to support the strong legacy that Immaculate has built up in sports, especially in swimming. And Coach Hill has been carrying the mantle for us because we have a great legacy in swimming from back in the day. And the old girls, we were very pleased to see the results of the Mayberry meet because we continue to stand behind our swimmers.
Coach, you seem a bit surprised. It's the first for a long time you're hearing that voice, right? but Coach Rapley, tell me, what was the support like for you at Wolmer's?
I cannot complain. We have like 100% support. I must big up Mr. Pennycook. Whatever we go to him for, whatever we need to facilitate the boys, he will definitely go above and beyond to make sure that we're comfortable. For example, the Wolmer's pool was down on Wednesday, and that's when they would have their final training session. And I gave them less than 24-hour notice. They got the bus to bus the boys to the stadium, made sure that they were able to get in that training session that was so needed. I would also like to thank the management team, Mrs. Downey, Miss Barbara, Sash, Nicole. I mean, I hope I'm not leaving out anyone, but these ladies, the old boys their phones ring every day because they're giving them the good news and then they're contributing. We got so much sponsorship. We got new gears, new bags. Like, they're living the life. The old boys are definitely doing their part, and I'm happy that we're able to give them the results that we have.
Right. Coach Rapley, you're also the coach of the girls team as well. We have been talking about the boys. The girls did fairly well as well. So tell us a bit about their performance and how pleased you were of what they did.
Yes, I'm very happy with them. I mean, individually, it may not be showing on the scale where we're winning the meet, but individually we did well. We broke records. We got a lot of medals for the girls. We had an incident with one of our young ladies that would have given us maximum points. She got injured and she had to leave the meet. Some of our older girls did not come out for this meet because they're prioritizing their exams and studying and stuff, so that affected us. But we came second at which was at the ASAJ meet, and that was our highest placing for the year. I was hoping to top that, but with all the obstacles, we didn't get to. But individually, we did well. And I'd like to big up our principal, Colleen Mrs. Montague, for coming out and supporting the girls at this meet. It was quite a light seeing her there, and we don't see her there a lot. So whenever we see her there, we are quite happy, and we try to show out and show off. And they did.
And Coach Hill, it was such a large margin that we won this meet. And what do you have to, speaking about more support, any more support that you need to continue on this trajectory?
Honestly, yes, pertaining to the funds and contribution, I know the school on a whole needs help tremendously. So I'm looking forward for the contribution towards our sporting teams. Not only swimming, but sporting teams in general. For Immaculate, I think that we're lacking there.
What you just said to Tony Hill?
Well, the old girls will continue to do their part in supporting our sporting teams, which we do every year. We know Penn Relays is coming up as well for track and field, and of course next week is boys and girls champs. So we will continue to do our part, and we will discuss it off air in terms of the support that we do give Coach Hill.
I'll tell her how much to write on the check, Coach Hill. Don't worry yourself.
All right, thank you.
Okay, ladies, again, congratulations, and I wish you and your team all the best.
Yes,
all right, thank
all
you.
the best.
Okay, so that was Coach Chanel Hill of Immaculate Conception and Coach Kafia Rapley of Woolmer's Boys, the winners of the girls and boys section of the recently concluded Mayberry Swim Classics. We take a break and come back with more here at Sports Nation Live.
Outperform, outlast, we top performance, Jackama, reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electrician. Fancy electrodes, 3 parts and 3 repairs. 3 parts, 3 repairs. 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-6111-4. Delta Supply, we service what we sell.
Share in the experience at Fontana Pharmacy. We have a wide variety of items in store just for you. Fill your prescriptions while you shop. And senior citizens enjoy 10% off. Shop household, cosmetics, toys, and many other departments. We also offer curbside pickup and delivery. Visit our website at fontanapharmacy.com. Fontana Pharmacy, where it's all good inside.
But is this real? Hey Greg, come look at this. Oh my, it's happening. Mr. Daniels, the numbers keep getting bigger and bigger.
Sir, the clicks are off the charts. Hello, sales? What's the emergency? 9,000 clicks in one day? 3,000 order? So how much we have left? What? I'll soon call you back. Mr. Nakamoto, it's Danny from Jamaica. I need 5,000 of the big ones. We're back in business.
Yes, sir. Arigato. Suene. Amplify your brand. Let Nationwide 90 FM assist you in tapping into a captivated audience across our social media platforms. For more information, contact us at 876-630-1210 or sales@nationwidenewsnetwork.com. Businesses, companies, and entrepreneurs, let's supercharge your brand. Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We're having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM. Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour. Fired.
Also, tune in to the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business, and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Benjamin. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
Okay, good evening and welcome back to Sports Nation Live. I'm Alex Raby working with
Taniel Mullings
and Kevin Williams on the other side of the glass, my technical operator. Taniel, what's been happening in football as it relates to the Jamaica Women's Premier League?
Yes, in football results for today, we had Federal United FC being beaten by Wi-Fi United. We had the UA women's team getting the best of Arnett Gardens 3-0. We had Fraser's Whip doing a whipping of the Springers United football ladies. And then we had Cavalier SC coming out 4-1 on top of the Proving Girls. And then we had the Los Perfectos ladies getting the best of Real Mobay with a 5-0 win.
Right, so those this is what I think round 4 of the Women's Premier League. So defending champions, Fraser's Whip, they are undefeated, and they have only conceded 1 goal so far, from what I can remember. Fraser's Whip, they would have beaten Springers United 8-0, and this is the type of result they have been having. I think only one team was able to score against them so far.
Okay.
So it has been smooth sailing for Fraser's Whip. I mean, they went through the season just the same last year. They're just a cut above the rest. Las Perfectas, they showed some improved performance, beating Real Mobay 5-0. So that's some good
ladies football for this weekend.
Some exciting football for our women. Let me see if I can get what's been happening as it relates to the Senior Cup cricket action. There was some 12 games in Senior Cup cricket today. Let me see if I can bring up as to what's been happening in Senior Cup cricket.
And today we would have had the Michael Holding Senior Cup being held at the Melbourne Cricket Ground.
Right.
With Kingston and St. Andrew being the host, between the host club and Kingston and St. Andrew Cricket Association.
It would have been Melbourne Cricket Club against
yes.
Kingston and St. Andrew Cricket Association. And up by JDF, there was a major game also between the JDF and Kingston Cricket Club, that's Kingston CC. Kingston CC is the defending champion. JDF, they would have lost last year to Kingston CC. They lost a title they would have won in 2024. I'm trying to find the latest as it relates to the results in those matches. I'm unable to pull it up just now, but it's Okay, so I think I found it. Let me see if it will open here. I need to get the results. No, it's not opening. I'm not sure what's happening. Let me try something else. See what's been happening. Like I said, it's some big matches were played today. Two biggest being the match between JDF and so Melbourne. Oh, that was last week. Let me see. Completed. So let me see. Okay, so we're not seeing that right now. So let me move over. Just to say thanks again to our YouTubers, David Nembar, who has been with us since the program started. There is Marigold Weber, Beat and Teach TV, Dwight Banner, Errol Townsend, Marigold Weber. Just want to say good evening to all of those. PB, good evening to you. Ricardo Porteous, good evening. Richie Richards, good evening to you. So those are some of the persons that has been with us for on YouTube. Let's go over now to Wayne Walker at the Ashenine Stadium, Jamaica College, for Velocity Fest 16. Wayne, good evening.
Yeah, good evening to you, Alric. The introduction has been made for the women's 100 meters final, and that's what we're waiting on right now. So we'll just stay on the line to see what we get from that. And the meters start winding down, and we're just trying to. I was in a conversation with some of the people from Grand Slam track just now, and so I'm trying to just get my lineup going. But the athletes are all reported for the start. And as I mentioned, there are going to be three of them. It's the A, B, and C. Quite a number of them made it through to the final of the women's 100 meters. And so the A final is up and up. The athletes are on their marks. The real crack final. Everybody's here. I mean, the big ones who came through the preliminaries earlier today. And so it's Jura Levy, Anthony Strong, Nathaniel Williams. They're called back. It's a false start. So it gives me the opportunity to run the starting lineup again for you. The Jura Levy, there's Anthony Strong, Lavania Williams, Heshika Cameron, Serena Cole, Toby Amusan, who comes in with the fastest time of 11.41, and Renisha McGregor along with Crystal Morrison. So the safe money should be on Serena Cole and Toby Amusan, having come in for the fastest time. And we're square on. It's taking us a bit of time to sort out the lanes and make sure that we have our eyes glued to the main lane. So they're standing behind the blocks once again after a false start. Everybody at JC looking at this. And if you think this women's 100 meters is going to be a cracker, check the men. So lane number 3 has been scratched. She was the one who picked the start, Lavania Williams from Elite. And so they do it again, this time though with 7 as opposed to 8. Not sure if you can hear the slapping of the thighs and the hamstring coming through the sound effect microphone. But a lot of that going on down there. Not the easiest thing for athletes in a sprint event, especially the 100 meters, to run 30, 40 meters on the track, then having to do it again. Because they warmed up and prepared themselves to run at a certain time. So, Rita Cole is in the lead at the moment. There is Jory Levidu and also Toby Amusan. Amusan comes across. Amusan wins it from Serena Cole. So that was what we expected. 11:28 the flash time. She did 11:41 coming in. But she really took control of the race after 50 meters. Serena Cole was in the lead for all the time. And when the Nigerian came calling, the former Edwin Allen standout had no answer. Toby Amuson looking really, really like a 100-meter sprinter here tonight. Remember, she's the world record holder in the 100 meters hurdles. And tonight, she comes here and put it across a really, really impressive field, including Serena Cole and Anthony Shaw. So 11:28 for Toby Amuson. And Toby Amuson is coming our way. I'm just hoping and wondering if we could get a chat with her. But guess what? Her coach has come all the way down beside me. It's going to almost be next to impossible to get a chat with her. But I'm going to try nonetheless. Congrats, Toby. Yeah, could you spare me a minute of your time while I walk with you? No? It's cool? All right, no problem. Yeah, she says, no, she's going to get her stuff. I knew it was kind of next to impossible, but I still tried. It's really, really difficult getting interviews from athletes here at this and other local meets. Rashawn, could you spare me a minute of your time? We're live on Sports Nation Live on Nationwide 90 FM 4498. What was all that about?
Just execute my race. Listen to my coach. Come out here to execute a good race, and the time will come, and that's what happened today.
What you did in training all week, and since the start of the season, did that give you the impression you could do what you did tonight?
I mean, I always know that I could run 44, but it just never happened until today. So my training was based on my forwards, not flat. But I can run flat as well, as just as fast as my forwards. But today we focus on the flat 4 because I wanted to get in a run because I don't get any 400 meters run from seed. So that was it today.
And you're also focusing on Grand Slam because you're going to be running the 400 at Grand Slam as well.
Yeah, I'm doubling at Grand Slam 400 and 400 meter hurdles. So this is one of the preparation races for that.
Did you know that it's the first time in Velocity Fest that someone has dipped below 45 seconds?
Well, I just know that.
Yes, that's it.
I never know that.
Yes, you are the first person ever in Velocity to dip below 45.
Well, that's good.
That's good. But how you've not put the 400 hurdles aside though? You're still
No. That's my event. That's my event. But I have to run the 400 meter as well, so I have to prepare for both. Yeah. But 400 meter hurdles is my event.
Anything before Grand Slam? You have another?
I don't know. My coach would have to tell me what's up after this.
All right, Rashawn. Congrats. It was really, really good to see today. The lead for Jamaica is 44.97. You run 44.98. You're almost the fastest Jamaican this year so far. You don't want that. You want to get right there.
Exactly. All right. In the next one.
Not a problem. Take care, Rashawn. All right, that's Rashawn Talk. Of course, he did 44.98 earlier today. Alec, one of the strangest things is to ask the athletes when next they're going to run, and they tell you that you need to ask their coach. They don't know, and that's what Rashawn did a while ago. You know, it's always funny to hear them say it. So the 100 meters preliminary. So there are going to be 3 finals. So that was final 100 meters final C, and we'll wait to see for the big one coming up a little later on. It is some way away from now, so maybe you could take it back, and then we see what goes on. But it's at the moment the C final. They've got a B final to come, and it's now 7:37. So I reckon we should be ready for the big one around about 7:42 would be a good time.
Okay, so we'll take a quick break and come back with more here on Sports Nation Live.
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We're having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM. Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour fired.
Also, tune in to the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business, and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Beanie, give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
To Marshall's Pharmacy today for your free medication management consultation. Let us guide you in taking care of what matters most, the health of you and your family. Shop now for gifts, personal care, household and stationery items, plus print services powered by Print Corner. Follow us on Instagram at Marshall's Pharmacy. Call or WhatsApp us at 876-491-7841. We are open late every day to serve you.
Who shops at Creative Building Finishes? You, the homeowner who creates luxurious spaces with our floor and wall tiles. The contractor and builder who are convinced that our ceramic tiles are right for the job. The architect and designer who make dreams come true with our wood look and porcelain tiles. Superior customer service, knowledgeable staff, inviting showroom, and you get where this is going, right? Shop 5 Red Hills Road or call 876-929-5553. Get tiles, get Creative Building Finishes.
My Mega
With so much to do in one location, make Megamart your one-stop shop. Pick up your groceries and houseware needs, grab a bite and pay some bills, fill your prescriptions and see the beauty products in our pharmacy. All in one amazing location. My Megamart, the best value by far.
Okay, good evening. Welcome back to Sports Nation Live. I'm Alex Weber working with
Taniel Mullings
and Kevin Williams on the other side of the glass. Now, the J3 is today they released the names of the athletes who will be representing Jamaica at the Carry of the Championships, that's track and field championships, in Trinidad and Tobago later this month, from April 19 to 21. Now, in the men's 100 meters, Jamaica will be represented by Jaden Collins at the under 17 level and Michael Graham at the under 20. It will be Gary Card and Shaquan Gordon. Now, at the 200 meters, Jamaica will be represented by Jaden Collins and Khalil Archibald at the under 17 level, and at the under 20 level, it will be Tyrese Foreman and Antonio Powell. Now, in the 400 meters, Rashane Richards and Dwayne Sharp will be the standard bearers for the male in the under 17s, and Taj Marquez White and Marquino Rose in the under 20 men. Now, in the 800 meters, it will be Luke Palmer and Johan Carty at the under 17 level, and at the under 20 level, it's Siobhan Jarrett and Joel Morgan. Now, in the 1500 meters, we'll see representation by Carvel Nooks at the under 17 level and Joel Morgan at the under 20.
And for the ladies, we have Shanoya Douglas and Sabrina Dockery for the 100 meter in the females under 20. Then we will have Adora Campbell and Shayon Smith for the under 17 ladies. For the 200, we'll have Rihanna Scott and Shauna Wilson for females under 17. Then Miss Dockery again and Shanoya Douglas for the 200 in the under 20 category. For the 400 meters, we'll have Shamika McLean and Tracy Ann Evans for under 17. Then we'll have Siobhan Thomas and Abrina Wright for the under 20 girls. Then for the under 17 girls in the 800 meters, we'll have Ali K. Reynolds and Kevin Gay Fowler. And then for the under 20 ladies, we'll have Jovi Rose and Cindy Rose. And for the 1500 meters, we'll have Kevin Gay Fowler again and Denique Palmer. And Cindy Rose will also represent us in the under 20 category for the 1500 meters with Shoshana Johnson. And for the 3000 meters for the ladies, we'll have Shoshana Johnson and Ashara Freito.
Now, as we continue, we'll rejoin Wayne Walker at Velocity Fest. But in the 110 meters hurdles, Brandon Bennett and Mark Daniel Allen will represent Jamaica in the under 17 level. On the 20 level, it is Daniel Clark and Saquon Gordon. In the 400 meters hurdles, Jaden Campbell and Shane Porter will represent Jamaica at the under 17 level, with Prince Well Martin and Robert Miller at the under 20 level. Long jump will feature Amani Phillips and Michael Graham at the under 17 level, and Michael Andre Edwards and Ricoy Hunter at the under 20 level. Now in the high jump is Celeste Johnson and Chavez Penn and Aaron McKenzie. And we join Wayne Walker at Jamaica College for Velocity Fest 16. Wayne, good evening.
Thank you very much, Alec. The men's 100 meters final, the last event of the championship. All the big ones are here. I think Oblique has pulled out. I saw him on the infield just now. But him aside, the rest are here. Akeem Blake and Zarnell Hughes. Just about 80 meters away from the start line where the athletes are now on their marks and getting ready. They're in the set position and sent away. It is Zarnell Hughes. Well, they pulled them back again, just like the women's 100. And they're almost half the way down the track. Zarnell Hughes in his bright green spike, hitting against the red track in his full red Adidas outfit, is the leading man. He's furthest away from the start line. They've got to get back there for it. But just like we saw in the women's final, a repeat of that in the men's final. So Zarnell Hughes and Akeem Blake, they were the two furthest down the track. And as you'd have expected, because they are the two that most spectators, if not all, are here looking forward to see it run. So this event has been delayed by a further maybe 2-3 minutes maybe, because they're not yet back at their starting position. In fact, Blake is still not back there as yet. Zarnell just getting there. So they've got to recompose themselves. The starter normally gives them a minute or so to sort of get their bearings back. Again, it's not easy for athletes to warm up to run at a certain time. And when that time comes, the race is delayed. They can get injured just by doing that, because they've got to do it again. In fact, they have to drag. I mean, Zarnell Hughes was well down the track. Shades of Merlin Otti, I think, was in 1997 in Gothenburg, one of those championships where she didn't hear the whistle calling them back. And she ran almost 90 meters and took her own sweet time to return to her blocks. And that race was held up for eternity. So they're back behind their blocks, not yet asked to get in a set position or on their marks. And they're trying to sort out. Let me see what card is to be issued. Lavania Williams was issued the card. Doesn't seem, well, they're all there. So they called to their marks once more. They're jumping up, trying to keep themselves warm and making sure that their blood is hot for this hot 100 meters. I tell you what, every pair of eyes, I'm looking around the stand, are focused on this 100 meters of real estate here at JC as the athletes back to concentrating, back to focusing. They're in the set position, and they've let them go this time away. This is Akeem Blake and, of course, Zarnell Hughes. And the race has been disputed between the two of them. But it's Akeem Blake who will put him on the line. He got away from Zarnell Hughes from the start, and he was never going to be caught. A very quick 10.05 on the flash time with Akeem Blake. Wow. Zarnell tried as much as he did, just couldn't come back to him. And 10.06. Hughes is 10.14. And third was Carr, 10.29. But that was a very, very, very good one. 9.99 is the meet record. But Akeem Blake ran a blinder just now. He got away from Zarnell at the start. And I can't help but to think that the start by Zarnell in the first race really did him in. It really rattled him because he went all the way down to about 60 meters. And I just think he didn't react to the gun that well because of that incident. It's very difficult to refocus at that time, but he did. But tonight, Akeem was just too good for him. He won in 10.06. Akeem, 10.14. Cesar Hughes. That a proper beating in 100 meters terms. So it was a really good race. A really good one. And they move on from here. The spectators are filing out of the Ashenine Stadium. They waited all night just for this. And I'm sure they're not disappointed. It was just really good to see. And Velocity Fest 16 has come to an end. I'll tell you what, most of the athletes who we wanted to talk to, a lot of them have gone to doping control. And even if they didn't go to doping control immediately, the doping control officer stays with them no matter where they go until they take their urine sample. So it's difficult to talk to them when the doping control officer is surrounding them. So that pretty much is it from Ashenine Stadium here at JC Alric.
Okay, Wayne, thanks much. So we know you'll be trying to get some of those athletes to talk with you after they have gone through the doping.
It's going to be difficult because you never know when they come back from doping control. They're going to keep them in doping control until they're able to urinate. And some people don't do that as naturally as you, Alice. So, yeah. So let's see. If we could get them when they come from doping control, we'll do. But they really tend to stay long in doping control because after running, it's kind of difficult for them to urinate, so they wait a bit. So let's see. Let's play by ear.
Just let them know I sent you.
No, I was about to tell you. You didn't have to tell me that.
Okay then, Wayne. Thanks much.
All
Wayne
right.
Walker with our final report from Velocity Fest 16 at the Ashenine Stadium at Jamaica College. And let's continue with the team that has been selected to represent Jamaica at the Carifta Championships in Trinidad and Tobago from April 19 to 21.
And for the ladies, I'm continuing with the 100 meter hurdles for ladies. At the under 17 level, we will have Malaya Duncan and Nikayla Russell. And then we'll have Tiana Marshall and Brianna Davidson doing the women under 20. For the 400 meter hurdles, we'll have Alyssa Carty for under 17 and Siobhan Thomas and Rihanna Lewis for under 20. Then we'll have Tishani Armstrong and Sequoia Palmer for the long jump for the under 17 girls, and Rohanna Sudlow for the under 20 category. And then we'll have Xavier Bernard and Sequoia Palmer for under 17 girls, and Danielle Noble and Shanika Williams for the high jump for the under 20 girls.
Now, in the triple jump, it's Amani Phillips, who represented Jamaica at the under 17 level. At the under 20 level, it's Chavez Penn and Michael Andre Edwards. In the discus is Kamari Kennedy and Brandon Lawrence at the under 17 level, and Joseph Salmon and Devontae Edwards at the under 20 level. In shot put, it's Kamari Kennedy and Brandon Lawrence at the under 17 level, and Despairo Ray and Devontae Edwards at the under 20 level. In the javelin, Jamaica will not be represented at the under 17 level. However, Tyreek Daly will represent the country at the under 20 level.
For ladies, we'll have Xavier Bernard and Tishana Armstrong for the triple jump at under 17. Then we have Jada Robinson and Sabrina Atkinson for the under 20 category. For the discus ladies, we'll have Jamie Lee Tullo and Davika Lewis for under 17, Shamoya Morris and Marla K. Lampard for the under 20. For the shot put, we'll have Jamie Lee Tullo again and Davika Lewis for the under 17, and Marla K. Lampard and Kimika Smith for the shot put for under 20.
Now in the relays, the 4x100 meter relays, the pool of runners are Jadon Collins, Michael Graham, Kalel Archibald, Mark Daniel Allen, Brandon Bennett. That's at the under 17 level. On the under 20 level, it's Gary Card, Shaquan Garden, Tyrese Foreman, and Antonio Bell. Now, Antonio Powell, sorry. Now, at the under 17 level in the 4x400 meters relay, it's Rasheen Richards, Dwayne Sharp, Jaden Campbell, Luke Plummer, Shane Porter. So those are the runners in the pool of runners for the under 17 in the men's 4x400 meters relay. Now, in the at the under 20 level, it's Taj Marquez White, Marcina Rose, Daniel Wright, Paul Henry, Robert Miller, and Princewell Martin at the under 20 level for the men's 4x400 meters relay.
For the 4x1 ladies, we'll have Adora Campbell, Shayon Smith, Rihanna Scott, and Shauna Wilson for the under 17 ladies pool. Then for the under 20, we'll have Sabrina Dockery, Shanoya Douglas, Rohanna Sudlow, Tiana Marshall, and Brianna Davidson. For the 4x4 ladies, for the under 17, we'll have Shamika McLean, Tracy Ann Evans, Kevin Gay Fowler, and Alyssa Carty. And for the under 20 ladies, we'll have Siobhan Thomas, Abrina Wright, Anastasia Hall, Jovi Rose, and Rihanna Lewis.
And in the octathlon, Jamaica will be represented by Kevon Grant at the under 17 level. There's no representative for Jamaica at the under 20 level.
And for the heptathlon and the decathlon, an additional space would be made for them to be chosen at the ISSA Boys and Girls Championships coming up next week.
So that's an additional space for a male and a female in both the heptathlon and decathlon. Heptathlon for the women and decathlon for the male. So that's what's been happening as it relates to the team that has been selected to represent Jamaica at the Carifta Track and Field Championships in Trinidad and Tobago from April 19 to 21, and Trinidad will also be hosting the Carifta Swimming Championships during the Easter season as well. So a lot of things happening in Trinidad and Tobago at the junior level. Well, let me quickly read a joint statement from the West Indies Players Association WIPA and Cricket West Indies CWI on athletes safeguarding. Now, the West Indies Players Association WIPA and Cricket West Indies are aware of allegations of sexual harassment within the West Indies women team during the 2020 ICC Women's T20 World Cup 5 years ago. Both organizations take such matters seriously and remain fully committed to ensuring a safe, professional, and supportive environment for all players and the staff. In light of this, WIPA and CWI will convene to review all aspects of athletes safeguarding within West Indies cricket. This joint effort reflects our commitment to upholding the highest standards of player welfare and ensuring that all safeguarding policies remain robust and effective. Both organizations have already taken significant steps to enhance player protection. In 2021, improved safeguarding measures were introduced for women's tours, strengthening security and well-being. In May 2023, CWI implemented additional policies, including single-room accommodation for the West Indies senior women's team on all international assignments, ensuring parity with the men's team. These are, among other policies, initiatives within the Memorandum of Understanding for the period October 1, 2023 to September 30, 2027. Additionally, the CWI Women's Cricket Transformation Committee was established to further advance women's cricket. Furthermore, we have implemented and strictly adhere to UNICEF Children Protection Policy, ensuring that minors never share rooms with adults under any circumstance. Additionally, we have mandated ongoing training for all officials to reinforce and uphold these standards. WIPA and CWI remains committed to fostering a culture of respect, accountability, and professionalism within West Indies cricket. There will be continuous evaluation of all aspects of professionalism within West Indies cricket. There will be policies to ensure every player deserves to feel safe, valued, and fully focused on their career. Through this upcoming review, we will continue working to strengthen, safeguard, and reinforce our unwavering support for all athletes. So that's a joint statement from WIPA and CWI as it relates to the protection of women in cricket. Now, that's all the time we have for you. Let me say a special thanks to everyone that made this show possible. Wade Walker, who gave us those reports from Velocity Fest 16 at Jamaica College, and Christopher Samuda, Stephen Bomber Jones, Chanel Hill, Steve McLaren, and Cafe Rapley. On behalf of my co-host, Tanil Mullins, and my technical operator, I'm Alex Rebus, saying God bless, good night, and as usual, I hope you'll be in church tomorrow morning. If you don't have a local church to worship, you're welcome to worship with us at Tower Hill Missionary Church, 159 Olympic Way. God bless, good night, and I'm sure Tanil will be cutting a big check for Immaculate so that their sports program can continue to flourish, right, Tanil?
Yes, Larry.
Okay, that's all the time we have for you. God bless, good night.
Bye.
Outperform, outlast, we top performance, Jackama, reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electrician. Fancy select tools, 3 parts and 3 repairs. 3 parts, 3 repairs. 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-6111-4. Delta Supply, we service what we sell.
Share in the experience at Fontana Pharmacy. We have a wide variety